sent a text to one of my sources, got a response, and I was told that Dallas been trying to trade Diggs since last year, and this incident might be the final straw that they use to get him up out of here.
Oh, well, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask this:
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anybody would take him? And what is his contract hit if they trade him? Because I know it balloons up.
I think plenty of teams will take Diggs. He might be having trouble now. Part of that could be associated to the scheme. Part of that could be associated due to him, just not recovering well from his injury. But I think that he could go on a lot of teams and take somebody's job. And it wouldn't be hard.
What do you think? What type of compensation they would get for him, though, considering his struggles as of late?
Well, a trade doesn't necessarily mean that a player has to get a whole new contract. I'm looking up his contract right now, and let's see what it's.
You got to realize his cap hit will accelerate.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if they want to absorb. They're not the type of team that likes to do things like that, though.
Yeah, that would probably be something that they would fight about with any potential trade suitors. This year, Trevon Diggs was paid. He counted against the cap $12 million. Next year, he counted against the cap $18 million. So yeah, that's not ridiculous when you put.
No, it's not ridiculous.
Guys like your Stingleys and your other people, Sauce Gardners and all of that. Even Deron Bland is neck and neck with him. So I wouldn't really bat my eye at any compensation. Cap compensation, excuse me.
What type of cap compensation do you guys believe that he would bring?
Trade compensation?
Yeah.
See, that's where things kind of get ugly.
Exactly.
It could be something like it could be as low as like a 3rd round pick, dude.
You think it'd be that high? I mean, based off of how he's been lately with the amount of money, you think they'll get a third? Yeah, you think they'll get a third from him? His Pro Bowl level is what, 3 years removed?
3 years removed at this point.
I don't know if they get a third from him. And then here's another thing. Even with his struggles, and if they trade him, let's just say they do trade him.
Yeah.
Who's your corners? Elam, Bland, Stewart?
Insert name here. That's all you got.
You trade Diggs. Your defense ain't great now.
Nope, it ain't great.
But you're getting rid of more talent. I mean, he has made a statement in this league. You got rid of Micah. Now you're talking about going to Diggs. I don't trust this organization to rebuild a defense, let alone get compensation for a decent level player. So I mean, this is going bad to worse if this the issue.
All right, so since we're on the subject of defense, let's talk about the defense.
Okay.
And I mean, to sum it up, it's been putrid, pathetic, listless, poorly execution. Maybe there's a coaching I'm one of the people that defends the coach.
Yeah.
But we'll start out. Brandon, you new here. Go ahead with your thoughts. The defense. What do you think? Hold on. Let me make everything correctly. Do you think
you sure you ain't got out of defense yet?
Would you?
So you said you wanted to. I thought you said you wanted to get out.
I'm just starting up. Will, give me time.
Give me time. I expect you to go on at least a 5 to 10 minute rant now.
Because other people have to talk. I don't want everybody. But I'm starting. I'm about to start right now. Do you think the defensive coordinator Matt was given a fair deal based on what has happened? Do you think the expectations for the defense? Because a lot of people are saying they should change schemes. It's poorly coached. There's no adjustments. When last year they was ranked 28th, they was 31 in scoring defense. Yeah. Then you get rid of your best middle linebacker. You get rid of your best defensive edge. You get away your best pass rusher. And not only did you give away your best pass rusher, you got rid of maybe arguably the best pass rusher.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what you would probably expect things to happen. I mean, when you take away the talent that they had, you bring in a new coach, and then you do not supply him with anything. Now, I have seen many people on Twitter say, well, Dan Quinn did a better job, but people seem to forget Dan Quinn also had talent in the draft, and they gave him talent.
Yeah,
exactly.
2022 team was terrible. Me and Willie was talking about it, but I hate to say this: the 22 team was better than this team collectively as they grew within the year. And they was bad.
Yeah,
but they did get better. But Dan Quinn inherited talent. No matter what we think about Dorrance Armstrong, if he was on the team, he may be the best edge rusher. He was probably the third best edge rusher at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, and I could be wrong. The team that Dan Quinn inherited, didn't he have Randy Gregory also?
Yep.
Wasn't Gregory
for a short while.
Yeah,
while. I mean, for his first year.
Yeah,
he had that. Then he had another edge rusher. Then he just had more talent than the team that he has now. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when we look at it, I'm gonna ask you: is there a great player on this defense?
No.
Great? No,
great. That's not even a great. There's no great player on this defense right now. So they're suffering from that schematically from a scheme standpoint. And then when you hear the owner and then you hear his son, and unfortunately you hear the head coach all act like that the players that they have fit the scheme, when we all know that's not true. Our friend Willie is always talking about you got man corners playing zone. You know that it's predicated on pressure. So you're supposed to have four rushers, not four edges, that can make pressure. You also supposed to have a better weak side linebacker. You also are supposed to have a strong side edge defense. And he has none of that. And it's not like they brought in Rex Ryan. They brought in a guy who had been here for 7 years, who was a tutor, who was a pupil of the defensive coordinator they had here. I don't know how long Rod was here. So it's not like they did not know what type of defense they was inheriting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the front office has completely, utterly failed, and they set them up. And unfortunately, I know this is Stoddy's first time, for him to sit here and say that these players fit the scheme, he's lying.
So I can see a few different things. I do think that Flus has been adamant about making the players fit his scheme. And what that looks like is the defense playing zone 87% of the time.
Yes.
Blitzing only 19% of the time. And those figures are first in the league and 27th in the league, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I also agree with what you said, John. The Cowboys don't have the players to fit Flus's desired scheme. And he's been unwilling to change to fit their strengths. So you have to ask a question is, what does your willingness to change or your unwillingness in this case say about you as a coach?
All right, I'm going to ask you this because I talked to Willie of this. Defensive line, what's their strength?
What is their strength?
What is they have one? They don't have one.
Yeah, because you said at this point.
They don't have.
You said he has to fit their strengths. So let's go with each unit and figure out what their strengths are. So what's the defensive line strength?
There's no one particular player that has there is no one strength that's shared across all of the players. I think that, for example, Sam Williams does a lot of like straightforward things well, but he doesn't have a deep bag of tricks. Kenny Clark has kind of been successful in Green Bay as being like a trash collector. What I mean by that is he takes up a lot of space. You know, he can eat up those blocks. Who's on the other side? Next name, Osa. There we go. Osa Odigizua. He's been kind of like a more finesseful player at the 3-tech position. That's how he wins a lot of his his battles. He has to dig into that bag of tricks. That's something that Sam Williams cannot relate to. So they're clashing in play style right there.
Hold on, you got 3. Who's the 4? Who's the other guy that's on the edge of defensive end? The starter.
The starter, it would have to be Donovan Ezaraku. And it's funny. He kind of had the tag on him as not being good against the run, but I do think that over 6 games he has improved against the run. He was kind of like a dedicated pass rusher. At least that was the idea of him when he was drafted.
I agree. But at first they were giving a lot of snaps to Fowler.
Yeah, that is true.
They were giving a lot of snaps. So collectively, what's the strength of the defense? Defensive line?
If I had to say and build upon the edges, I would say running forward in a straight line and getting to the passer.
You got
if I had to say Sam Williams and Donovan Ezeraku capitalizing on those strengths, that would be it. Using speed and strength to get to the passer.
Okay, so you just said that he doesn't have any bags of tricks. Mm-hmm. I don't think Sam has any elite band. He doesn't capture the edge very well. Mm-hmm. If he does make a positive play, it's usually negated because he's offsides or he's did a face mask. So he's not mentally prepared. He clearly doesn't watch film. I like Osa, but he can't hold up. He loses a lot of one-on-one battles. He's more finesse than physicality. Mm-hmm. I like Kenny Clark, but also the scheme that he played in was a little bit different. He does seem to have some awareness of what's going on. So I think he's pretty good. And Donovan Ragland, who I do love, he's a rookie. So there are times he's close, he's getting close. Yeah. But he hasn't gotten there yet, but I have no problems with him. So we have no strength for the defensive line. Middle line, the linebackers.
You got, let me add, John.
Go ahead.
I think you got 2 guys, maybe 3 guys that fit some of what Flus want to do. Well, 4. I'm gonna say, James Houston, Ezeraku, Clark, and Toy. I think those 4.
Who's the last one?
Toy.
Jay Toya.
I think those 4 kind of fit what he would like in a player as far as how they play the run, how those 2 get after the passer, and how Toya and Clark kind of clog up the middle. He doesn't have a dynamic 3 technique, which is the number 1 guy you got to have on that interior to run a 4-3.
Right, to run this type of scheme.
And to run this type of scheme, you got to have that, and you got a 3 technique that is finesse. And that's hurting the D line big time.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
Your noses kind of have more get off than, I mean, you got 2 noses with good get off, Clark and Toya, but they have no 3 technique to pair. Like, if you use Tampa Bay, you have Sapp, you have Booker McFarland. You didn't hear much about Booker. Booker did his job.
Yeah, he just did the dirty work.
Yeah, he just did the dirty work. Sapp was the man. But when Booker went to Indy, he made Indy's 3 technique be a little bit better. They didn't have a dominant 3 technique, but they had guys that could be disruptive. You got to have a 3 technique that's disruptive in a 4-3, especially against the run. And Flus don't have that.
Yep, and he likes all 4 to shoot gaps in attack, and they do not be able to do that.
No.
Willie?
Well, the thing is, Osa is a fit where you know who. And that's basically, I think that's one of the reasons why they re-signed him, because they thought they were going to have you know who. But without you know who, he's just another player.
I'm sorry, who's just say the name. I don't. Who?
Michael Parsons. Not Michael Parsons. He's not the player that we were seeing that's making an impact, because he's getting a bunch of 1-on-1.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. Where was he that last year?
I mean, it was a bit of it last year. He was playing pretty good last year.
Against
when Michael Parsons got back. But he was after that.
What I'm saying is, but I mean, when I see him, usually when you have a 3 that is dominant, they usually are either going to double team that particular person. He's going to eat up space. He's going to open up things regardless, like as a 3 tech. And all I'm saying
he's not dominant.
No, I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's a great player. I just think that is a major problem. For a guy, and this is not a knock towards him, he just at times he's found wanting to me. And last year I was cool with letting him walk. I just money and found some other guys.
Yeah, you want a big Milton. You want Milton Williams.
I was fine.
I want a Derek Brown.
Yeah, I was fine.
But as far as Matt Eberflus is a good coach. He's a good defensive coordinator. His track record shows that he is. I mean, I could bring up some stats and numbers from when he was with Indianapolis. Around 2018, he had the 10th ranked scoring defense, 18th to the 2019 year, and 2000 through 2020 and 21, he had 11 ranks against scoring. And total defense, 11, 18, 21. He's a good coach. He's a good defensive coordinator. The problem is the players. The players are not a scheme fit. And then, I mean, he's not going to change his scheme to play man coverage. That's what you got. But the problem, the biggest deal is you just signed a cornerback that's a man corner right now. Even though you've been trying to get rid of another dude, it's just this is all on the front office. They don't know what they're doing.
You say you signed a guy. Are you talking about Bland? I'm assuming you mean Bland.
Yeah, I'm talking about Bland. They signed Bland, right?
Right.
You already had another man corner, and you about to try to get rid of him. But you just signed a man corner. He's a man corner. Play man, or get a guy that can get a coach that can coach man. It's just this coaching staff seeing a guy out there that's a familiar, and they went and picked him up. That's what they wanted.
See, the only problem I have with that one is because when you play football, everything is predicated and everything is linked.
Mm-hmm.
So if when we look at it, let's go back and look at when they were successful, the two corners, Diggs and Bland, the best time they had their success. If I'm not mistaken, the numbers I'm remembering during that time when they having all these interceptions, the pass rush was averaging like 48 sacks, like per season. And so that's allowing the quarterback to throw the ball, get it out faster. You don't have that right now. So with the front, you have that. Then we're about to get to the linebackers, and they are probably collectively as a unit, they are extremely bad. And there's one player that's probably the worst defensive player in the entire league, and he makes them even worse. And for whatever reason, they don't want to take him out. So you just, I get what you're saying. And here's the thing, I get what you're saying. You play man corner, okay. We all know every corner. Neither one of them have shown that they're Revis, meaning is they're physical enough to be able to handle. So if they get beat, which hey, it's fine, every corner gets beat. You got them sorry ass safeties behind them. So it's like everything is a weakness on every level. They got weaknesses on all three levels. I don't care if you bring in whatever coaches you guys will think is the greatest head coaches, defensive coordinators, and bring them in and deal with this. He's gonna have problems unless you give him talent. Like you can't mask this. And another thing about this defense, with all the weaknesses, I was talking to Byron earlier, the lack of effort. Like they do not swarm to the football. Your middle linebacker is playing two-hand touch. Two-hand touch. Yeah, they don't swarm. You don't see effort. You see maybe one or two guys.
Rookie is trying to get in there, and he's not. He's been in the game for 5-6 years.
That will get to the ball, and the rest of them are trotting to the football.
And then you have situations like, I wonder if Kenneth Murray kind of forgot how to play football in a lot of ways, because he looks like the least instinctual player that I've ever seen, which is strange.
He's always had bad instincts, though.
But to Willie's point, he mentioned that you have a lot of DBs who specialize in man. You have linebackers who specialize in their role. I wonder why they haven't, or at least they didn't, coming into this season, attempt to hybridize their scheme. And instead of sticking with the Tampa 2, they can go to like a cover 5 or something like that, or like a cover 1 with like a rat defender. So
hold on for a minute. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. You said there's a strength on the linebackers? No.
I said playing to the strength of the linebackers. Excuse me.
No, okay, so that's the thing I'm at. What are their strengths?
Yeah. I think that Shamar James is a solid tackler. He's a rookie though, so you kind of gotta let that be what it be, let him develop.
Exactly.
And let me see. You would have, based on the preseason, I thought that Sanborn knew how to navigate traffic well. But it turns out that was not the case. He moved through traffic and was able to make tackles in the preseason. Me not necessarily being a Chicago Bears fan, I had to learn most of the things about him in the preseason games and in the practices. I thought that was his strength. Guess what? I was wrong. And
no. Actually, you was correct.
You're not the only one, though.
No, the fellas will know. I actually like the signing. I like the kid. I'm not gonna say he's a Pro Bowl level linebacker.
Oh no,
but the guy that I saw in
We
Chicago,
just thought he would be.
I don't know who
We
this guy
thought he would be starting level. That's at least an
is. I
average
thought he
level.
would be a starting level
Mhm.
linebacker. I thought he would be a top 20 type of linebacker starting. But here's the thing: if you look at him, he seems to know where to go, but his lack of speed and athleticism is so glaring when you see him out there. When he turns his hips and try to run, he's always 5 seconds.
He doesn't look athletic.
No.
But at least I think he understands where
They had no instinct either. When he get the ball, basically hitting off his shoulder.
He's probably instinctively better than every backer on the team, but I just think his lack of athleticism robs him of a lot of things as well. You'll see that he seems to know where to go, but he's 5 seconds late by the time he gets there.
If him and Murray can go into a phone booth and just become one player,
I told you, Judge. What did I say, Judge?
Yeah, I know.
What did I say?
The brain of one of them and the body of the other. Oh yeah,
and you got yourself a linebacker, but when you with both of them, where they at now, this ain't going.
But
as you were saying,
I would much rather have Sanborn on the field than Murray.
I would rather have him on the field
because at least
I'd rather go get a 35-year-old linebacker than to have Murray on the field.
Are you talking about last year's line? He only 33.
He's 33. Sanborn?
No. Linebacker from last year.
Are you 33? Yeah. I would take him.
Yeah, I would
take him. All day.
I'm surprised.
I'm begging. Judge, you know I am begging to get that blind dog off my field. That boy can't see. You know what? He ain't even a blind dog in the beehive. He can't even smell it. He can't even smell it, bro. He don't even know it's there.
He lacks
He's just sitting there.
He lacks a lot of instinct. So as you were saying, Brandon, you was talking about the strengths of each player.
I think that Maris Leofau actually has a few of the strengths that Shamar James has, and sometimes to his detriment, the way that he hits people. Both of them are like getting to the point of attack and doing damage type of guys. Maybe that's something that Flus needs to highlight and try to put to the forefront. I thought once again that Damone Clark was kind of overcoming his primary issue, which was a lack of instincts. And we've talked about that when you made an appearance on my show before, John. I think that Damone Clark, you can always see his wheels turning. And in practices and in the preseason, I thought, and guess what? I was wrong again, that he was kind of overcoming that. And in year 4, I think it is,
you're not alone.
I thought that he was developing as a player. Yeah, he just hasn't gotten there yet.
He does not resemble the player that I saw in college.
I
actually thought even with
I think it's fear in him. I think it's the fear in that neck, John. That fear in that with that neck.
It's not the thing what I saw with Van Der Esch, where I could see that he's easing up and trying. Yeah. Clark is just out of position instinctively. Yeah. It's just the instincts part. He lacks instinct, and it makes me think if I go back and look at his college tape, maybe the backer that was next to him was the one that had the green dot as opposed to him, and that just allowed him to run free.
Was that Patrick Queen? Was he side by side with Patrick Queen?
I think he was. I have to go back and look at that because I'm always assuming that the Mike is the guy that has it, but maybe that's not the case with him.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't developed. I really thought he would develop further and be a really good, competent starter, and it hasn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been one of my major disappointments.
Yeah,
among a lot of people else on the defense. Who else? Who else we have here? Anybody else?
I agree with Brandon as far as Flus trying to play to the strength of the linebackers, but it's like he only the 2 linebackers we talked about it today, John. I would just rather see let's just run with Maris Leofau and James for the rest of the season at linebackers. What
about the kid that's on the practice squad? Justin, I think it's Justin Barrow.
Bring him up. I mean, Murray needs to everything that Murray everything that Murray has that gives him access to Dallas needs to be rescinded. His
He need
car
to
to
be
get
like that.
into
You know
to
what
get
it
into
was?
the
What's the name
car.
with the door? Try to with the key, try to
Yeah.
get in, and he can't
He-
get in. That's what he
he
did.
has
I need somebody to kidnap him and
Yeah, I need him to be.
let him go at the end of the season. Like this dude,
A key card don't need to work, dog.
bro, I have
Key card
never
need to be
seen
declined.
a linebacker do what he does on film. I have never
Thank you, B. Thank
ever
you.
seen a linebacker do what he does on film. And for him to make it to the NFL, like either he's just going through the motions, he got some money on the line of every game, or he is severely concussed and he don't know what is going on.
I think I'm just making this assumption. He looks the part.
Yeah,
he looks the part.
He does.
You see
Yeah,
that
he look good every week.
He does.
Yeah,
Jersey look nice and tough.
and I think what
Got his sleeve on.
happened because this happens.
He look
Coaches
good.
like that, and I always assume I can fix this.
I can fix him. Yeah,
That boy don't even play like. Yeah, he don't even play like Jane. He don't even play like that. Jane probably could at least trip into a tackle. This boy here, this boy don't. He can't.
man, I'm on
Okay.
I'm watching the all 22. I watched this man spy a quarterback when the running back is running up the field.
Yeah,
He still has his eyes on Young.
yeah.
Dude, Rico got the ball. Running tackle. Like I'm like, and then one play they ran a screen. The screen was ran to the offensive's left.
Is that the one where Lil Far goes down to the flat?
Yeah. Well, Lil Far goes to the flat.
And Murray goes right behind him.
No, but first he goes to the defensive left.
Yeah, I remember
The screen is ran to the right, to your right. You go left.
And he kind of got the instruction to go over to his right too. He got the instruction to motion, but he didn't motion.
Yeah, you know the worst thing you see with this dude, you'll see the ball. You can see the dude's coming down, and he's still doing this right here.
He's still diagnosing. Yep.
He's still doing this right here, John.
Yep. He's still diagnosing.
And you be like, why is he still in his? All right, man.
Yeah, his instincts. He is very important.
I just want to understand if we, you, me, all of us see this. What do they see in him? What do they see? Because I'm trying to understand why he's on the field. Because no matter what, he's on the field.
I mean, the only thing that would come to this, in my opinion, is two things. Either
they think he's gonna magically get it.
No, they're paying. It looks like they're playing the guys who make the most money on defense.
Yeah.
Of course.
Or there's a bad habit, because Nolan did this in 2020, is that they only trust older players. Even though you see what's on the field and you see it, man, you have to just, if you drafted a player, developed a player, sometimes you just got to say, look, this guy it's like playing against 12 because he doesn't help us.
No,
he doesn't help us. Every time you put him out on the field, there's like he probably ranks the worst with negative plays. I rarely see splash plays. He doesn't drive to the ball. He doesn't have instincts for the ball. He doesn't have instincts to blitz. It's just, it's just hard. All right, so next would be the corners. What are the strengths of the corners?
Well, your top two guys, the guys that you paid, they prefer to play man. Now you can say that this year the defense has had the most sacks and things like that in zone, but when you only play man 13% of the time, you have a much smaller sample size for success. You're basically telling the players, all right, I'm giving you this one opportunity to do what you want. You better capitalize on it. And it doesn't always work like that. Football is a 60-minute game. So going back to what I was saying, Diggs and Bland specialize in man coverage. Donovan Wilson at the safety position, he specializes in moving forward. Let him do things moving forward, not going backwards. Malik Hooker's getting a little bit older. He can't quite do the things that he did 2 years ago, maybe even 1 year ago. Because I think Malik is like 30 now. Still
I don't
younger
know.
than me. That's crazy.
He's 49.
But then you kind of got your guys Bridges and Stewart who are just trying to get in where they fit in. You know, I don't really have like familiarity with either one of them to know what their strengths are because
I have a lot of familiarity with Stewart. He can play zone.
Okay.
Stewart is pretty good at zone. He's a good zone player.
Mm-hmm.
But the two guys, like you said, the starting corners that are paid, they are man corners.
But hold on,
right
let me
about
ask you this
Wilson.
though. When you even though if you play zone, there are times where a player is going to be in your area and you have to carry him.
Absolutely.
Like they've had situations they've had to carry guys and they both got burnt.
Yeah. ACLs, man.
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if they're
Yes,
physically what they were two years ago.
That's why I don't understand why they're asking to play man. Like, to me, if you know you're not where you used to be, learning the techniques of zone can make you be a better corner. If all you depend on is man and you don't have that get up and go that you used to have, sometimes you gotta compromise. And maybe Flus will play a little more man if you show that you can play zone. If you can't play zone, I'm not finna put you in man.
Zone. So, I mean, because here's the thing.
Hold up. You telling me that?
Hold on 1 minute, Willie. Well, I mean, 30 seconds. Even though you playing man or zone, you still have to drive towards the football. You still have to know what your areas are. And zones are also to mask your weaknesses. I don't think either one turns or run as well as they did. I don't. And I know people say they play man. I don't remember either one of them guys really playing press, like getting into anybody, because the ball was always coming out. They still played off. Like you used to talk about that every week with me. Willie was like, why are they playing 5 years off? If you're going to play man, you're going to get up on them. I don't recall it. I remember Diggs did that in his first 2 years.
Yeah,
but
that's why people were so pressed about that whole double move thing.
Exactly,
like that whole meme about him getting beat by the double move so much.
Exactly,
he was right up on people those first 2 years.
That is a major risk. I don't know if either one of them are physically there. But go ahead, Willie. That's my 30 seconds.
Like, remember the Philadelphia game where they kept on picking out Lewis with a certain player? I forgot who it was. They kept picking him off. They run a lot of man. They've been running a lot of man. They just play off all the time, dog. They've been doing this for a while. Me and you had a discussion about it one day, and you said the same thing. You thought they ran a lot of zone. I was like, yeah, they run a lot of man. They do. They run a lot of man because they get beat a lot. When they do get beat a lot, it's because them dudes are quicker than them. That's basically what it is.
I mean, they also don't have like a
last year.
Yeah, they don't have a back end, so when you get beat, you relying on Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker.
I mean, most of the time they didn't get beat a lot. Well, I would say Trayvon wasn't getting beat a lot over the top, more as a lot of people try to make it seem. But last year, he could get beat over the top. He could get beat over the top a lot of times.
But Trayvon get beat over the top.
I mean, well, he would get beat last year coming off that injury. When he would like that Saints game, he was getting whooped up that game. I can tell you, they would all get whooped up in that Saints game.
You still
they were running some deep routes.
You still can get Trayvon on a double move too, because
he still can.
Leggett got him Sunday on a double move, which ended up being a PI. But the aggressiveness he showed on that move, I wish he would have showed on the what was it, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 that he gave up. He didn't show that same aggressiveness to come up on that, in which that was a definite out. It's like, to me, Trayvon don't know situations. He's not 3rd and 8. They're just trying to get the first down. And he's not paying attention. Like, a lot of times, I don't even think he watched film much, to be honest with you, because a lot of times in his coverage, sometimes he looks unprepared, and it looks like he's trying to gamble as opposed to just letting the scheme, as opposed to playing the scheme. He's trying to gamble and make a play. Sometimes you don't need to make a play. Sometimes you just need to play the scheme make sure your man don't get the first down, and get off the field. Like some of the stuff Trayvon doing right now, sometimes Bland look disinterested. Like it's just on the fourth down, the fourth down play. Bland playing outside technique, so you giving the guy the inside. Like at least play head up him, so at least if Murray don't get up underneath, you can make a play on the ball. You're not gonna make a play on that wide receiver because he can run a 3-yard route and get a first down all day.
I mean, unless the disguise is to send him to Murray, if that was the plan, I don't know.
It was the plan. The plan was bad. This would be real.
The plan
you after that a non-instinctive person that make that play.
No, you can't. The plan is fine. It's the players.
It's the person.
Like
I'm talking about the player in particular. You can't ask that player in particular to make that play.
What I'm saying is, I get what
it was nice to learn.
I get what people say. Coaches are stubborn and things like that. But usually, if a coach is very successful at what he has done, he's not going to just suddenly change overnight. They don't do that because then you doubt what you're doing. And you rattled off his numbers. We can go with a player, a linebacker. We didn't think that was that extensive in Dallas, and Bruce Carter. He made Bruce Carter look good. And every place he's left, his backers have always looked worse. So he can't just suddenly say to himself, I got to change things, because what he's going to change? He's going to make them more aggressive. Because if you blitz, who do we have that blitz? When he blitzed Bland and he blitzed Diggs, neither one of them knew how to blitz. And I know people, this is not towards what Brandon was saying. I know people say play Wilson closer. Man, they will hunt and seek him. They do it every time. No matter where you put him, you know this, Willie. They talk about it. When you got a weak link that's exposed as here, hold on, one real question. We had a strong box safety that was light years better than him and Roy Williams. Once the league found out he couldn't cover, once they find out that he can't cover, they went after him regardless. They're going to go after their weakness. You can't mask that. And this problem is this team has weaknesses on all three levels.
Yeah.
You have nothing to mask. You don't have a great pass rush, so you can't mask the deficiencies of your corners. If you want to press, you got safeties who don't have no range. Mm-hmm. So it's just like and then your backers, your defensive ends at times can get moved out. Your backers are too slow to minimize the gain, and what could have been a 5-yard gain turns into a 13 or 19-yard gain. They got problems everywhere. They got problems everywhere. The problem is, the major problem is this, and I blame it on the head coach. You should have gotten more talent. You took care of your side of the ball.
Yeah.
You went out and you got Booker, stud. You went out and got George Pickens, stud. Mm-hmm. You went out and got that. And what happens with Pickens? What do we say, Willie? When you get him, now the pecking order changes for everybody else. Now Tolbert is out there. He's making plays because now he doesn't have pressure on himself. And then Ryan has made a leap. Jake Ferg looked like a player last week because now the pecking order is different. But you don't do that on the defensive side of the ball. You don't do that. I get people want to do scheme change, and people say bring in a defensive coordinator. You're a grill man. If you put bologna on the grill, it's still bologna. I don't care how you season that shit up. It's still bologna.
That's a good one.
So people keep saying this, and I'm like, bro, y'all, what, he gonna turn water into wine? He gonna walk across the water? He can't do that. Give him. That's what they expect him to do, John. What do you say, Willie, all the time? Give me some uber talent. Give me uber talent. Let's go and look at all the great defensive coordinators, fellas. All the great defensive coordinators. They're tied to great players.
They take their uber talent away.
They're tied to great. I don't know. No great defensive coordinator suddenly took a jag and made him an all-pro player. Name me one.
Well, they did take. Zach Bond did become an all-pro player. I think he was an all-pro player last year.
But
you saw all pro or Pro Bowl. Those are two different things.
I think it was all pro. I think it was all. Was he all pro? I don't know. I'll have to go look. I ain't got the time to look like that.
I think he was an all pro linebacker last year. I think.
Yeah, he got first team all pro last year.
Okay, but I'm asking you this. You think Zach Vaughn was a jag?
Yeah, he was a jag. He was a jag. You know,
he wasn't a premier guy.
He was just a.
Hey, John, you remember you stopped messing with him as soon as he got that test back.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, when
he was a special teams player with the Saints.
Yeah, he was a special team. He wasn't getting on the field.
Yeah, he wasn't getting on the field. But the Saints did have the Saints have a good linebacker.
Don't necessarily mean that you're a bad player.
The Saints have a decent linebacker though. That the guy that he was in front of him.
Right, so it just
he doesn't come off the field, Willie.
It's just preventing him from getting. It's kind of like the defensive end that ended up going to Tampa. He was playing behind DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller, so it was like he just didn't have an opportunity. We've seen these guys. Murray has been horrible since college. If you go back and look at his college process, it's been like that. His instincts are bad. Donovan Wilson can't cover anybody, even if he had a blanket. So we know this. These are deficiencies that, bro, the only way we can mask this, Willie, if we had Bland, that's from Washington, Derek Brown, if we had your boy from Cleveland, you know what I'm talking about.
I actually agree. I agree.
If you had that type of front, then you can mask your problems from behind. You don't have that type of front.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now the reason why you kind of need your strength to be a defensive front is because Flus wants to win the four. Flus wants to win the four so he can have bodies clouding up the field. And you're right. They didn't really do much favors to their defensive line, quite possibly because they expected to still have Micah Parsons up until 2 weeks before the season started. That's why they brought back Fowler. And
you know what? And that's something we're gonna get on because that's an organizational thing.
Absolutely.
Like if you did expect to have him and you traded him 3 weeks before the season starts, like that's just absolutely ridiculous.
I think the plan was Parsons. They were building around Parsons. They did everything that Parsons asked. They re-signed Osa, went out and got players. They were just waiting for him to sign that $40 million. When he said he wanted more than that $40 million, that's when the problem started. That's when it happened.
But here's the thing. We had him last year, and we was 28. Now, this is not a knock towards him. I'm not knocking him. But the players you did bring in, they didn't draft equivalent of Booker on defense. Like, they didn't get nobody like him. They didn't go out and get a George. All the defensive signings, none of them are George Pickens. None of them are Williams, the running back equivalent. So, you know what I'm saying?
You already know what they do when it comes to that defense. They're going to go over there to the bargain bin.
When it comes to the
defense, they get lucky every once in a while to get a curse or somebody, but that's what they love to do. They love to go in that bargain bin.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying any of that. Like, that's just a bad organization thing with your resources. If you wanted to trade Michael, you should have did it in March. Cause a bidding war. The money that you could have saved with him. You also really had to think if Osa was truly the type of frontline 3-tech that you want.
The problems wouldn't be there if you sign your players on time. You'll be able to afford all the players that you got right now.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this: you can sign them late. You can sign them late. It depends on the money about the other guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about primetime players. I care about you paying $10 million to Dalton Schultz. I care about you paying $10 million to Tony Pollard. I care about you paying $42 million to Chase Bird. That's the type of stuff. When you start adding that money up, then you're like, oh, we got $60 million and we blown on them.
Yeah, you don't know if Pant was out there on the market. Look how good pass Noah Pant looked the other night. I've been talking about ranting and raving about Noah Pant for years and said, just get that boy with a quarterback and let that boy play. And he went over there to Cincinnati, being a backup. You could have that on your team. They don't like going outside of it.
If the Cowboys could draft D linemen
like they do
they draft O linemen, we wouldn't have no issue with defense. But for some reason, the type of defensive talent they look for, they don't have a clue. I don't get it on the front line. Like I don't want no guy from. I want SEC player. I want players that played in the South, SEC, ACC. I want them guys, like our Big Ten, Michigan. I don't want no D tackle, DN from Michigan no more. Give me a corner from Michigan. I'm fine with it. Give me a defensive
end, linebacker, yeah, maybe.
Give me
Cornerback.
Give me a guy from Ohio State. Just give me somebody that is a dog on that line that ain't gonna get pushed back 7 to 8 yards. That ain't gonna get blocked by a tight end. Ain't gonna get blocked
or wide receiver
halfway across the field on a wide receiver. Then you on social media putting laughing emojis up, like, bro, like I just.
He was out of SEC now. He was out of SEC. I mean SEC. Williams.
Let me raise the question then. Who do y'all think is instilling all of these draft philosophies?
Who's the scout?
That's the point. You know what the problem is? The draft philosophy was all over the place, and it was akin to this head coach. I mean, this defensive coordinator or that defensive coordinator over the last couple of years, because Williams.
Hold on. It ain't been the last couple of years. It's been over a decade. If you look at how it is, it's always every year. Yeah, they don't have a consistent philosophy. They don't. Philosophy.
They're just picking. That's what the problem is. It's just picking dudes down there. Just like when they picked Mozzie, they just picking a dude. Mozzie did not fit what we were doing at the time. He would. I wanted the big boy.
Hold on, I'm gonna take the L on that one. I'm gonna take my L on that. I thought he would have helped them out fine. And
I did too.
It just didn't work out. But here's the problem too, though, Willie. They have a problem of saying we messed up and moving on. They'd rather still keep the guy as opposed to just saying, you know what, it ain't work out. Let's cut him in the third year. Let's just move forward. Let's go get someone else. They won't never.
They're waiting, just like I said, they're waiting for them to block them into something else. That's what it is. They want them to evolve into something else, something that they haven't been the whole time they've been here. They just gonna magically make the step. It make the jump. I mean, that's what they hope.
But sometimes that do work out. You got to look at Michael Parsons. They didn't have him as an edge rusher. They had him as a linebacker, and then he did develop. He had that one game. We thought it was just a fluke, and then he turned out. Sometimes it works out that way. You know, you got to wait for the player to develop. But it also got to come to a point where you look at it and say, okay, this guy doesn't look like he loves football, or this guy is just not developing, and just move on. Sometimes
John, what you described is called the sunk cost fallacy. Dallas believes, and you have to pay attention to the words that Jerry Jones uses. Dallas believes that we have invested high draft capital in this player. We've paid him first round pedigree. And the word that Jerry Jones uses is invests. I invested in this player. Not we drafted this player, not we believe in him. I invested this in him. And the belief is probably that he has to succeed because I've spent millions of dollars in training, nutrition, contract, etc. in him. So he has to succeed.
You know what where that comes from?
Go ahead.
Right.
What that comes from to me is his business background of how he made money and how he is and how he did. And that's fine. That does work in that type of arena. That does not work in football.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't work. I get it. You put
that's how you see it. You look at them like they stock. Like
I mean, you can, but you can. There are some people say, okay, my stock is just not worth anything after 2 years, and you just move on.
You move
They're
on.
all assets. They're all assets. You know, I refer to draft picks as cheap labor. When you have your premium guys, you get cheap labor around. But I'm just more roof. I would be more.
You don't know how to, like you said, you don't know how to sell. You don't know how to sell when it's time to sell. Just get rid of it.
No,
he doesn't know how to sell when the guy's at his peak, and he doesn't know how to walk away.
And they always riding out their contract, riding in mind. Now just don't go, bro. You were scared to go out and do something better somewhere else.
Collins, he did it with Mozzie. I'm surprised they did it with Taco. You know, they just do it over and over again.
And Malik,
he became a mouth. That's why he started talk a little bit too much, and
a lot of players do that. But I just think they always seem to draft when it's a need, as opposed to just draft the best talent. Like they had a need at defensive end, but it was like, okay, just draft the best guy. They had a need at defensive tackle. draft the best guy or double down on the position and do it every year. Don't just do it one year. You want to stack the strength. So
that
I think
explains though why. That explains the draft, the way that they draft now. They draft for need instead of drafting the best player available.
Exactly.
Like, because I mean, Solomon Thomas was drafted by the 49ers. 49ers cut bait. They let him go.
And what's crazy, I thought Solomon Thomas was a solid player, but they figured like we can do better than this. We can actually get better with this, and we're fine with moving on.
Yeah,
but
and they've drafted another guy, Javon Kinlaw. They drafted him.
They got rid of him.
They got rid of him. Like, if you don't do what they want you to do, you gone. Like
3 years.
It's just
you ain't showing it in 3 years.
It is what it is. Like with Mozzie, I thought they could get him to be serviceable, to be better. To me, coming from a non-attack 3-4 defense to an attack 4-3 defense was like different for him. But I thought, hey, you can do a little work in the offseason, you can get your get off, you can improve your get off. But it's like I watched him and Clark side by side. Clark was making contact with a guard and tackle, and Mozzie hadn't even got out of his stance. That right there ain't got nothing to do with talent. That just want to. Like, I don't think Mozzie really wants to be great, because all his deficiencies is just about effort. It ain't about just being coached up. It's just about giving effort. Get off is about effort. Ain't no technique or nothing. Ain't no coach can teach you. He can show you how to get off, but get off is about your effort. And he's a twitchy guy, but it's just like I don't think he loves football, man. And you gotta.
Nah, I don't think he loves football. I don't think he loves football. I think this defense collectively, their IQ is low.
He told you that he didn't love football.
Yeah, you mean
what statement?
When he
like
drafted,
to hit people?
Yeah, when he was drafted, he said, I don't necessarily love football. I love to hit people.
I don't think that's a I don't love football statement.
That's not, because if you look at his Michigan tape, he's doing football stuff.
He's doing that statement. What he just said, that statement means I don't love the Monday through Friday of football.
That's the most important parts.
The Saturday.
That's the most important parts.
Yeah,
that's when you have to hold on, Brad, to make something great on Sunday.
Brandon, I'm gonna ask you this. Did you? Okay, I'm gonna ask you this. What do you think of Curtis Martin?
Curtis Martin.
Yes, running back.
Man,
you may be
like years. Yeah, I'm about to say you brought back years.
I know. I'm just bringing him up. But you know who he is, right?
Yeah, aware. Yeah.
Yeah, you know he's a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
So he was a great player. Like, he was a great running back.
Mm-hmm.
And during his Hall of Fame speech, first thing he said is, "I didn't love football," which was shocking to me because of how he played it.
Yeah.
Like, he played the position the way he was, but he talked about how it helped him and get his mother out and all of that. I agree with Brian. There are a lot of guys who don't love football. There's a lot of guys who don't like working, but they get up at 6 a.m, they go in, they put in their hours, they do their job. That's a way to do things. But Mozzie looked like, I got the check, and somewhere from the guy from Michigan to the guy in Dallas, Byron says this all the time. There are guys who look like they have paid their rent, and there are guys who look like they are playing to get the check to pay their rent. And there are guys who are just not, you just see guys who just do not look like they have effort. Like they have literally quit. And they're just going through the motions. Let's get the season over with, or I can just move on and just move on. And I think that's been a detriment to the team. I think it's a detriment to the front office.
And
the whole defense look like it, John. They look like they don't play. The whole defense look like it.
I mean, the only guy that constantly stands out to me is the rookie, Donovan Wright.
Like, I think Clark comes to play, but by the end of the game, when everybody else is spelling you around you, I mean, you
It,
you getting whooped enough.
But I think his thing is more he's wore out than that he's
Yeah.
given up. Like that's a thing where he's getting that time. He gets triple team because the guy on the side of him he can't deal with this man.
Man,
So I think and then also it has to be frustrating for him to come from. Okay, I came from a defense that really plays hard, and I'm playing with these dudes, and he's the only vocal leader.
yeah.
And then it's just something about them guys getting 2 blocks, getting doubled by both defensive tackles getting doubled on the inside, and these dudes on the outside are not making plays. That's what they constantly keep happening.
With a team,
I just that's you know what that is.
But
That's
another thing, though,
bro.
sometimes the
We don't
guys
respect your
outside,
ends.
sometimes the
respect
guys
your ends
outside, they take themselves out of plays. Like the block on Sam Wynn, he takes such a hard inside. All the running back, the wide receiver do is just push him. He don't even have to put in the effort to block him.
Nope.
So, and then I love James Houston. I have no problem with him, but he's not the strongest run defender either. That's a lot of those guys they play the edge cannot defend the run consistently, except Donovan Arachne.
But
Houston
is a better run defender than Sam is.
Oh, by far. No, by far. But what I'm saying is, you have him, but then you still compound it with Fowler and then Sam Will. And you have it's just kind of like
Fowler get in the stands on first down like he ready to rush the passer.
And he does.
That's exactly what he's like he looking to attack a tight end or nothing. It's like I'm out here to get to the quarterback.
Yep, I am going to hunt, and that's the only thing. Yeah. That's not the way you play football. You have to all do your job.
Against Carolina, I don't know. I might be exaggerating a little bit. I don't know. Anybody else that watched all 22, tell me if you've seen this. I think I've seen 5 different defensive end combinations.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise
me. No, you're not wrong.
I seen it started out Nealon and Fowler. Then it was Nealon and Sam, Fowler and Ezraku, the kid from South Carolina and Ezraku. Like it's too much going on. Like they went to a 5-man front and you got Sam at a 3 technique.
Yeah, and see what he's doing with that, I think he's just trying to find out who works.
Absolutely.
I think that's the stuff he's trying. He's just like, let me, and it's just not happening.
But I'm going Toya, I'm going Solomon Thomas, and I'm going Kenny Clark. When Carolina went a 5-man front, it was all 3 of their dogs in the middle. Them 3 D tackles that gave us hell all game long was in the middle. First and second down, it was that 5-man front, and they was whooping ass. They was the defensive ends didn't matter because the D tackles did so much work till it made it easy for the defensive ends to do their job. But
the only problem is I don't think we got a Robinson or a Derrick Brown or
we don't.
But who are the defensive ends for Carolina though? You really don't even know.
Some of them
they do a lot of their work in the middle. They do a lot of their work
doing all the work.
Yeah, they do. They but one of the dudes came from Ole Miss.
But you know what, Don? I may not know them, but I sure know they wasn't doing any offsides and.
No, none of that.
I saw them just doing their job.
You know that boy down there, Derrick Brown was down there whooping feet. That's what he was doing there. He was down there handling business. We would have got him in that trade. We would have got him in that trade. Now that is the proper swap right there. That's a wrong.
We could have got Devontae Wyatt. From the Packers.
Should have asked for him.
You should have asked for him.
So I'm gonna ask you this: with this being the case,
I would have got Quay Walker. They would have gave me something else besides. They would have gave me a linebacker or something. Yeah.
With this being the case,
you need somebody.
Do you make what? How do you fix this if it is fixable?
You can't. If you can make some unbelievable trades using those number 1 picks and get some elite level talent, on the D line and get a serviceable middle linebacker, you might be able to save it. But you're gonna have to bench some people first.
You think anybody out there right now would do that has elite talent?
It's one. It's one. It's one.
Who is that?
Who are we talking
about?
Who
is
that?
MT.
Oh, okay.
Miles Garrett.
What they just paid them all their money.
I don't know if
we got money to spend.
But all right, so let's say you
made that. I mean, he's not wrong.
Let's say you did do that move. He still, I don't think just with him, he's gonna mask all those deficiencies though. Shit. Bro, I don't. Yeah. I understand that you love him as a player.
You might see Fowler back.
Bro,
I feel better knowing he's on the field for it. That's how I got him next year. I'm gonna have him the rest of my life. That's all I got.
Bro, all they gonna do is slide. All they gonna do is slide 3 guys his way, and then you gonna have the rest of them clowns that's not gonna be able to help.
One thing he will change is that offensive coordinator will not be dialing up plays to attack Donovan Wilson. He's gonna be dialing up plays on how to block Miles Garrett.
He will.
So his eye level is
I don't think this team is like one defensive player away.
It's not. It's
at
not.
all.
That's just a pie in the sky. That's just cadre. It's not like
reality. They need help in linebackers, safety, and they need somebody that could they can bring a pass rush. They need, but they really needed that linebacker. I mean, they needed.
Who's the middle linebacker there? I mean, who do we need to play at middle linebacker right now?
Who we need to play right now? Like who we got on the team?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like based on what you have on the team, it could be on the practice squad too. Something. Who needs to play middle linebacker?
Honestly,
I'm rolling with them young guys, man. I'm just you're not going.
James not a middle linebacker.
But who's your Mike? He's saying who is your Mike?
Sanborn.
No, but I'm saying,
and that's more so out of necessity, not as a compliment to him. So John,
will anybody give?
Hold on. Go ahead, Bray.
John, you mentioned what do you do to fix this season? The season might not be over, but I think it's to the point where I'm unwilling to invest capital in a trade. Not necessarily because I don't think that the team could do anything, because I think that the division is still kind of wide open. I think losing to the Panthers was like that trap game that Dallas couldn't afford to lose, especially with the sort of gauntlet that we have after the bye week. So I think that any success that you're gonna have is through player and coach improvement.
Okay.
So I wouldn't spend any of this capital on.
No, I agree. I'm not willing necessarily.
Who needs to take the next step then? You said player improvement. Like what players?
I can give you a whole list of names. So many people. So many people. You can go anywhere from all of your young linebackers, whether it's Louis Fowl or Shamar James, but he's still a rookie. You know how I feel about rookies, John.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I go with you on that.
I wish that Damone Clark would show us what he was showing us in the practices and in the preseason, but that just be a pipe dream.
We got with him, man.
We brought in so many DBs that I haven't really gotten what I needed from any of them yet. Yeah. So,
but you haven't got your money's worth with the guys collectively. You're paying $90 million.
Absolutely, that's 100% true.
Yeah. No, they overpaid, man.
Right. So you got I'm not saying that they can't do something with the season. The only problem is this: they have put up historical numbers against taking Green Bay out against offenses that are kind of inept. Yeah. You haven't played any of the really top level elite quarterbacks or offenses, and they're about to. If they're giving up 30.6 against these inept teams, they're going to get cooked on the defensive end coming up later. Like they just. I've been saying this for years. I don't think this defense is smart. I don't think it's talented. I don't think there's a leader on the team. No one's cerebral. And Willie, I will say this too. There have been times that great players, even though a coach may call one thing, he will do something else because he sees it differently. They make no adjustments. if you have to hold the hands of every defensive player, you got a bunch of guys that are just not collectively smart. And we see that. We have just go ahead.
And that's why it should be. That's why it should be. Play the young guys and hope these guys next year look good and keep the defensive coordinator. He's not a bad defensive coordinator.
I don't think he's a bad defensive coordinator. I think
Draft
they
guys
sabotage
that
him.
his system fit what he likes to do. You
But-
need it to have a system that you like. You're going to, put your attention and focus into and just run with it. It's just like when we switched from Parcells. But Parcells that first year knew he couldn't completely run a 3-4. But what he did in between, he ran some stuff. But then the next year he started pushing. And by 2005, it's a 3-4 defense. That's what you got to do. You got to start making baby steps towards it. But you can't do it overnight. But if you're going to start doing it, continue to do it. And then when you get another coach, get a coach that's similar, that runs the same scheme. And that way you have the same scheme for 4 to 8 years or whatever, or how long you want to run it. Don't get over here and have a system of attacking defense and then want to run a cover 2 defense and then want to run a cover 3 defense. Don't keep switching it up. Get a system and stick to it. That's the problem with the Cowboys. They don't stick to it. That's why they're all over the place. And that defense, it just shows just a bunch of different characteristics on the defense, and it just don't add up to be good enough to do anything right now.
Part of being a successful coordinator is being able to adjust and not necessarily sticking to one non-changing scheme. Though, we can look at all of those great Patriots teams. Bill Belichick, the one constant in his defense was change. Use the best as a barometer for what you aspire to be.
The only thing though with that is he had the Patriots and they had great defensive talent though. Like
and he ran a 4-2. He ran a 3-4.
The talent
they have some good talent man.
It's just so in
all levels.
And I understand what you're saying. Be like sometimes because there are times he did a hybrid kind of 4-2 type defense because he didn't have the size.
But he ran a 3-4. That's what he ran.
No. One year he was running like a 4-2. Because he didn't have the type of 5 techniques that he needed. Yep. But the guys he had up front was superior to the guys we have in Dallas. It's just that
he had to see more on his team, bro.
But you had 2 Hall of Famers.
That boy was a beast.
And he had guys that would always keep guys accountable. Yeah, he had smart guys.
But he had guys like when I'm watching this Cowboys defense, I don't see many guys that love to play defense. Like I don't see 11 guys playing one call. I see 11 individuals trying to make a play. And that's not defense. Like everybody got to do their job. And my job is to set the edge. Then the linebacker got to come and clean up when I turn things back to the inside. You don't see that. You see a defensive end set the edge, and then it's a hole big enough to drive a truck through because the linebackers are not there. Corners run with their man, but then you got a slot receiver that runs straight to the safety and run by him. Like everybody is just trying to, they blaming Flus, and a lot of it ain't on Flus. Some of it is just y'all just bad defenders.
Yep. And that's the thing. When they start to do that, it's because they don't want to make accountability. You've seen me.
That's it.
Remember when Nolan got there? And I'm not saying whatever. The first week 3, Jalen Smith was saying, "Oh, this is too complicated." Mm-hmm. And then everybody started to buy into that narrative. Oh, it's real. And I was like, no, bro, it ain't like it's robbery. I ain't running that complicated down there. But fans thought that because they couldn't realize how bad it. And that's what's happening now. Oh, it's definitely a scheme. It's like, no, are you actually watching what you see on the field? Like, he's not asking these guys to do anything hard.
Yeah.
He's not. But it looks so bad. You got to wrap your mind like, no, it can't be the players. There's no way they could be this bad. But they are.
Yeah, the reason why I want them to run, man, you know why? Because you can't. How can you fuck up just running with a guy? You
But they
can't. You
have.
definitely can't take
Hold on, but
this
they
pace. How
have.
can you fuck up running with a guy? That's why I want
But they
this.
have.
I'm talking about language.
Zone
How can you
doesn't
mess
mean
that up?
zone doesn't mean completely. Yeah, but zone don't mean completely. You just stay in that spot. Once that guy to get to your zone, you carry that guy.
Yeah, it's like a match zone.
They don't do that.
Yeah.
You see it all the time.
Willie,
I'm sitting there watching Bird, and I'm like, he just standing in one spot. That dude right behind him, and he just complete pass right here, basically right here, right behind.
The only touchdown that Rico had, everybody, when the guy showed up in their zone,
completely broken coverage.
They stuck to him, except for one guy, and I don't even want to say his name no more.
Say his name.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kenneth Murray.
Yes.
Call him out.
He was, I don't know where his eyes was, but Rico ran right through his zone to the end zone.
And that's what he said. And then when you look at it, go back. Little Fowl takes the flat. He does exactly his job. And Murray goes right behind. And I'm like, bro, he already has it covered. What are you looking at? He has his cover. So I know
you should never have two dudes in the flat.
Right, yeah, like dudes are just, no, you are supposed to carry a guy. Damn. The reason he uses the zone is the reason you do zone is because that means dudes will really have deficiency and they can't play with the ball to their back. So you want them to look forward. Yeah. That's the reason you play it.
That's why I don't understand why he's out there, dude. He can't read the quarterback.
I mean, I agree with Brandon. I think he's out there because they don't have anybody else that can do the.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran. Right.
He's a veteran.
He can run. That's all it is. He can run and make up a tackle, I guess.
If I'm a coach and I'm in that film room and I'm watching a rookie tell a veteran where to line up at, that veteran ain't coming on my field no more. You're not stepping, because my job is in jeopardy too. I gotta get a check for the rest of this year, and hopefully I'm getting a check from the Cowboys for a couple more years. I can't put you on the field because you limited my check. You causing me to might not have a job. So like you got to put, if they start with the young guys, I feel like maybe we can see a little bit of progress because the young guys gonna play hard. They're gonna play like they got something to prove. But
I mean,
keep running these veterans. Keep running these veterans out here. All you're gonna hear in the media is these veterans saying, we need to play more man, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. Ain't none of them gonna be accountable. Kenny Clark be accountable.
He's the only one.
The rest of them ain't gonna be accountable. Like Donald, bro, you. Whew.
Yeah.
Hey man,
that's another one. That's another one that don't need to be out there. I don't know why he's out there, man.
It's
first down.
Yep, it's too much deficiencies that you try to run something. And I get it, Will. I know what you're saying. But let's just say they were capable, they could do it. That's still you can only cover with somebody for so long. You know that. You can't cover a dude for 20 seconds and bigger. Sooner or later, that's gonna break. It's gonna break. Somebody's gonna get away, touchdown. And then here's the thing. Then here's the thing. If you do that and you press and you have a guy that's big enough to break it, once I get behind you, I'm cooking your safeties. I'm cooking.
They're not gonna get over there.
Exactly. It's too many weaknesses on this team. And Willie, I don't understand this because it was like, right, Shiny, you was here. You was here for 2 years. You devised offensive things.
Yeah.
You have to see that this was
that ball's only looking at the offense, man. He ain't see nothing on that defense.
You're the head coach. Yeah. You're not the offensive coordinator. You're the head coach. Yeah. And here's the thing. You have an offensive coordinator who's actually been an offensive coordinator who's been successful before he showed up in Dallas. You've never been given that title. You were just given the title, but never the responsibility. So you have to look at both sides of the ball. And there's no way you can see this trashy defense, and they couldn't stop the run last year. Now what happens? You get rid of your best pass rush, you can't stop the pass either. Now we're gonna cook you both ways.
They'll cook you all kinds of ways.
Right. The reason he's playing zone, I would play it. You would hope they take a long time to march down the field. Yeah, but you play man.
Me get the smoke, get the pecan and the applewood out. Okay, these boy getting smoked out there all day
I was gonna
long.
say,
You
when you
any
don't
way
play,
you like it.
yeah, you don't play run defense, man. You can't. It compromises you big time.
It compromises you,
Just
Right.
when you don't play run defense.
right?
Yeah,
That's the
man.
problem.
So they're compromised. They're compromised in two different ways, and the problem is, it would be great if this offense was around when Dan Quinn first got there, because then they can dictate. We averaging 30. Y'all gonna have to throw.
Yeah,
But
course.
because it's not built as a strictly a pass rush team that can win consistently. It's just, you got both problems. So it's
Yeah,
like
if you had this offense last year, if you would have just let Shotty call the plays last year.
Well, hold on. Even if you call the plays, they didn't have the talent that they got this year.
But I mean,
I agree.
They didn't have the talent, but
Yeah, we
you
did.
could have ran the ball.
No, Judge, you got to understand.
You could have ran the
But
ball.
one thing we can say about this right now, Shotty is drawing it up, man. Those are good plays out there.
Hold on, Willie.
If he was offensive coordinator last year,
I say two. It's a couple of things here. One, we have Booker BB early in the year, so you see that. Then you go out and get George Pickens and Williams. I have to apologize. Yeah. I didn't think he could play like this again. I didn't see that. So your running back is much better than the guy you had last year. You got a legitimate guy. He's a one. Williams is better than the running backs they had last year.
Yeah,
Rico.
Yeah,
better than Rico. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than
Rico. No, he's better. He's better.
Yeah.
He's a better running back.
All I'm saying is just the attempts of the run. Like, to me, it seems like this year you're more willing to run the ball, even when it ain't successful. You still
but Zach Martin was ass last year. Yeah. Zach Martin was ass.
Yeah, he was. He was.
You don't think that Rico will look good right now?
No. And here's the thing too. This proves what I was trying to tell people who was saying, "Oh, let Hoffman be the right guy." Are you out your mind? TJ Bassman, you saw the struggles that they had this past week. I'm like, y'all are crazy. Go out and get Booker. I would love to see if we would have Cooper Beebe and Booker against them. That would have been a little bit of a different thing. I don't know how it would have resulted, but I just think that would have been much more. They have made major upgrades on the offense. They have not made those types of upgrades.
They got to do that on defense. And I mean, because I don't know what Dak has body-wise, how many more years Dak has body-wise. So you gotta, it's gonna take, you're gonna be able to rebuild that defense in 1 year unless you go out and get some big time free agents. So it's gonna take you at least 2 years to really get that.
Hold on.
Built.
Now you can rebuild a defense in a year.
I think with what they have,
this front office,
I think you can rebuild your defense. But they have never shown that they can.
Yeah, they didn't show it.
You got 2 first-round picks. You have money. You have picks galore. If you go into the draft and just say, we are going to focus on the defense, I think so. But this team passes up the type of TJ Watt to get Taco. You go out and get tight ends in the second round every year. They don't make no major commitment to defense.
Yeah, all the money's on
and that's what turns what could be a 1-year rebuild into a rebuild that could take the rest of Dak's contract, and that's the really unfortunate part.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned Shotty before. I actually like Shotty as a coach. I think he plays to the player's strengths. Which is a big plus because you don't really have that on defense right now. You see him putting guys in position to where they can showcase themselves.
I don't know how good he is because the talent he has is different.
Yeah, sure, but I can also say that let's compare him to the previous regime. We don't see the boneheaded mistakes on offense anymore. That Remember that year Dak got hurt in that New England game with his calf? Yeah.
They was cooking that year. Who did they have? They had Amari Cooper. They had CeeDee Lamb. They had Gallup that was healthy. They had Cedric Wilson. The talent was just different. I just think when you don't have the talent, like that's just major. You can't run out of midget and then
Sure.
have him be a wide receiver. You can't
Sure.
do the things that you. George Pickens has just made a lot of differences from the
Made
receiver.
a whole lot of people's lives easier.
Yes, I just think when you have talent, when you have great talent, that helps you as a head coach. Like I understand, I'm not saying that, but here's the thing too. Shotty also put your wide receiver in the backfield, deciding to make him the running back. That ain't.
Hold on, man. He been in the backfield his whole career. He done ran that play.
But here's the thing.
His whole career.
Check this out.
That ain't no Shotty. That ain't no
Yes.
Shotty.
You talking about CD Lamb?
Yes, CD Lamb has carried the ball out of the backfield.
Yes, but here's the thing. But here's the thing. That's fact. They usually do that when you ain't got nothing going. I got Williams giving me 5 yards of carry. Why I gotta pull a trick? We cooking. We're cooking everyone offensively. Why do I have to go there with that type? You do that when you don't have the talent. And I get it. B.
He can look too cute sometimes, man.
It's just like
you
don't need to do that.
I mean, that last drive against Carolina, man, that tells you that. Man. Just getting too cute, trying to outsmart everybody. You got a little bit of that Jason Garrett.
Just line up, man. You got your talent. Just line up. I mean, earlier George just beat them for a slant. Why not go back to it?
I agree with you on that. I agree.
I know you won't. Go ahead, B.
I just think from what I've seen from this offense, Shotty and his staff has brought in a more modern offense. I'm
gonna say this.
Hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
To where if you're missing players, like i.e. the O-line, it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, but
like
I'm not
giving in Atlanta.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not giving him.
You gotta give it to John. He hired the coaches, John. He hired those coaches.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Why is he suddenly hiring the offensive side of guys, but he ain't responsible for the defensive side of the guys?
Maybe because the front office they wanted Eberflus.
I'm gonna say this. This is what I gotta say. I don't believe that Shotty is doing this the same way I didn't believe Garrett was doing anything when he had Bill Callahan. The guy that he has as his offensive line coach has been cooking for years. He's been a great offensive line coach. That's his OC.
Those are his guys. That's who we wanted.
Hold it. The dude that's his OC, all this stuff that I'm seeing we running, he ran that last year.
Yeah,
he did.
He's been very successful. All I'm saying is something that's gonna fear you, Willie, because I know how you are with this. Because you gotta keep them. Don't be surprised if one of the two of them get a call for a different position somewhere else down the line. May not be next year, but it may happen later.
That's the thing that we're looking at right now. Is those guys gonna get calls, though. They're improvement that they see and being able to do the things that they do. They're gonna get called.
Well, no, you got not really, because they've been those position coaches for years. Everybody don't want to be a head coach. Yeah. Everybody don't want to do that. Like everybody don't want to be the main guy. So we really don't know, but keep them happy. I don't know if I give Shotty as much credit because I saw what he ran in Seattle and that was trash to me. Like I just see the stuff that I've seen with those two coaches elsewhere, and we're just lucky that we got them.
Russell, that run game in Seattle was top notch.
It was top notch. That was some play calls. That was that cute stuff. I hate cute stuff. Like
if you cute stuff, that man ran power counter trade. That man ran power in Seattle.
We know what we gonna do.
I think he was running with them reverses.
He has. What'd you say? He has some also ran running backs.
I forgot who did they? No, they didn't have what's name on the team
like that.
At the time.
And passing wise, Russell Wilson had one of his better years in a long time. But Shotty's run game was nice in Seattle.
I'm not saying that he's not a good coach. I do not know if I give him as much credit as his two position coaches. That's all.
I think that when you get a new coach, you need to see improvement on the side of the ball that they command. So, like, for example, the Jets with Aaron Glenn. The Jets have seen minimal increases on defense because that's the side of the ball that Aaron Glenn commands. So I'm not sure how I can grade him in a positive way. So let's look at Brian Schottenheimer. I think that you could see multiple ways where his coaching directly impacts, and you can see improvement based on last year.
I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, I just think they got better talent. Like, I just think they got better talent. George Pickens is a dog, man.
Talent can get you so far, but at the same time, talent doesn't cause a lot of clock issues. You know, that was directly related to Mike McCarthy last year. You gain things.
I mean, who was his?
Being cognizant of what's going on around them.
Who was his?
And what we rank right now in penalties, John? What we rank right now in penalties on offense?
It's still stupid. They still do stupid penalties. Let's not act like they got dumb.
We're not bad as last year, John. We're not bad as last 3 years.
Oh
we're better.
Are you serious?
I mean, so yeah, I'll give you that. You have seen, like, you know, the mental penalties like come down, like the mental mistakes.
Tyler still doing it. Tyler still doing it, but guys,
you gotta give the man some credit, man.
We'll give him credit for that, but I mean, what I take away from him is
here's the thing.
I'll take away from him, John.
If I
I'm gonna help you out.
Give him this credit because it's the same way as I felt when Jason had Bill Callahan. Mm-hmm. I knew what Bill Callahan was. I've seen it for years. I was like, everywhere this dude go, the run game, the offensive line is better.
Yeah,
people was trying. I love the offensive line hire and the offensive coordinator. I was like, we're going to see improvement. They've improved the coaching on that side, and they improved the talent.
Here's a question I got. Was Callahan already on the staff with Jay before when JG got the job?
He was hired before Jason Garrett was the head coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a JG hire. That was a Jerry hire.
Yes.
These guys here are shoddy hires.
How do we know this?
He told you. He told you.
You know what? I'm sorry to say this, but he also told me we was gonna be physical. Lies. He's also said we got the personnel.
Yeah, they physical on offense.
They got physical as a football team.
They physical on defense, on offense.
They physical on offense.
It's a problem.
I'm sorry. I'm not hiring you just to do one side of the ball. You're the head coach.
Hey,
right.
I get you,
but
it ain't his fault. It ain't his fault.
It is his fault.
They hired Eberflus.
Willie. It's like this. I know people get on Jason, and I understand that. But I remember when Jason got hired, first thing he did was start to use first-round picks on offensive linemen. Dallas had never did that. That was Jason's. That was a imprint that Jason brought. That was something he wanted. I have seen guys come in and pound the table. This is just my own personal opinion. I am not in the room. I do not believe Shotty beat at the table for his defensive side of the ball. I just don't believe that.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that.
I agree. I do agree with that.
I can agree with that.
I think this guy is a better coach. He's had more time, so it's not fair. But I'm just gonna make a slight comparison. When Tony Dungy was in Tampa, you know, he beat it for the defense, and that trash offense of his just suffered for years and years.
Yep.
And this is just kind of the same thing I see here. You know, when I was afraid when Shotty got hired, and he said the two most important parts was the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And I was like, what? I said, what? Everybody know it's the line. And I was sitting here, I was like, oh my God, I said, this is not gonna work for me. That's basic football. And for him to sit, and he ain't got to throw his players under the bus, but for you to sit there and say Matt has the personnel, like, man, and who are you lying to? They're not going to fire you. They're not going to fire you. You can literally just sit here and say, we don't have enough dynamic defensive players.
You can't say that, though, John. You cannot say that in the media. You can say that in the room.
Why not?
But because you can't. That is just something that you cannot say publicly.
I have seen guys say it before. Why can't you say that?
You think them guys ain't playing now? You think them guys ain't playing now? They'll quit on them real quick after saying that.
They've already quit on them. They've already quit.
Yeah, that is true.
They can take place, man. I mean, it'd be worse, man. It could get worse. It
How
could get
worse
worse
can
with
it
guys
get?
that just quit.
Hold on. They made
Playing.
Rico Dowdle look like Jim Brown. They made Russell
And Rico
Wilson
gave
look
you a
like
week
Brian
notice
Russell
too to get it
Wilson.
right.
How worse can it get? You want them to put a 40 burger? They made Caleb Williams look like he was John Elway.
Hey, it might look like a freeway next time instead of a hallway. That's what it might be.
Look,
So
here's
John,
the thing.
hey,
No,
so
but
John,
here's
you
the
got
thing.
players like that on your team, get them up
I
out of
am
here. You
here.
gonna quit? You gotta
I'm
go.
here for the next 3 years. It is no way you're gonna roll me with this trash. There's no way you're gonna do that. You gotta
But
hurt feelings, man. I'm not saying he has to call out players, but he has to admit, for him to say that, that's a detriment to his defensive coordinator.
You can't do that.
So he did it. He did it to his coach. You got the personnel. That's basically saying you ain't doing what you need to do. And media has rolled on that. So it's like, and it's not like, here's the thing, fellas. It's not like Brian took the offensive players that everybody from last year and suddenly turned the water into wine. What did he do? He got him some talent.
No, I mean, Guyton was trash last year.
Wow, but Guyton still, but you still, hold on. I'm not saying that I'm not saying he didn't have no struggles, but that was a 1 year thing. Wilson has been, and we know he can't cover. Murray cannot cover. He has no instincts. So they brought in guys with longer track records than one guy who had 1 year, who also took accountability for his 1 year and said, you know what? I didn't play well. I got to play better. He admitted that. Have you ever heard Donovan Wilson say, you know what? I need to study and learn how to deal with the past? No. Have you ever seen Kenneth Murray say, I got to get better to help the football team?
Kenneth Murray might not even know his name, man.
Yeah. No, I think he does. No, I think he knows his name because I think people cussing his ass out.
And who called him K9? Please, who called him?
Yeah, man.
K9?
I don't know where that came from.
Couldn't tell.
I don't know where that nickname came from.
So John, I went ahead and did a little research over the last few minutes, right? Because we talked about penalties and whatnot, and how you said that they appear to be still doing the same thing with offensive penalties.
No. I didn't. Hold on. I didn't say offensive penalties. I said the team as a whole.
Okay.
The defense still does a lot of penalties.
Oh yeah. Well. At that point in time, we were talking about Schottenheimer, though. You know,
I know, but I'm blaming him. I don't put Shotty and just say you the offensive head coach. You're the defense. You're the whole coach. Everyone reflects on you. So when you have stupid players out there, that's a reflection on the head coach. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like when he was first hired, he was hired as an offensive consultant to Dan Quinn to work on the weaknesses of your defense. So it's like, how can you not know these dudes who you have out there that you continue? You can override this. You can tell Matt, man, we're not playing these dudes. Figure this out. But he's not doing it. Don said this early, that he makes excuses for his players. And I think he does. He constantly does this. Except for the guys on offense, because they dogs. These dudes on defense. Right.
Okay, so we can compare that. Last year, the Cowboys had 128 penalties for a total of 922 yards. So far this year, they have had 48 penalties for a total of 396 yards. I mean, if you want to talk about comparisons.
I got a theory on that too.
Go ahead.
And my theory is, because it was a lot more holding calls and a lot of other calls that we got last year that we ain't getting this year offensively. Mm-hmm. I think the referee crew has a respect for Schottenheimer's dad, so they kind of are not flag happy. Because I've seen a lot of calls. Sam Williams had a horse collar that they didn't call last week. Mm-hmm. And that's normally always called on Sam Williams. Some always stupid called on Sam. So I just think the ref, I think Shotty got a little respect with the refs, with the white hats, and they might be giving them a little pass. That's just me, though. That's just me. Just pie in the sky thought. That's just me. Just me. Schottenheimer, I think his dad having a little, being a decent head coach in the NFL. I ain't gonna say legendary, but a decent head coach in the NFL. I think that's kind of helping this team.
He was a legendary coach.
Decent.
He was better than everywhere he went, he built a good team.
I mean, John Elway just spoiled everything for him, though.
Sure.
Like, yeah. He was he at Kansas City?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spent a
He
lot
went
of
to
time.
Kansas City.
And everywhere he went, he
So
did build a complete football team.
So
He went to Cleveland. He was in Cleveland. He was in the AFC Championship game back-to-back years.
So you mean tell me Shotty grew up watching Derek Thomas rush the passer? And now we got James and Sam can't
Speak
been
up,
a
Brian.
corner of Houston.
Speak up.
Sam Williams can't been a corner.
You understand now what I'm talking about?
I get it. Yeah, I got you.
Now his dad did stretch defense.
Who was the cat that used to wear? Who was the cat that wore the Band-Aid across his nose? The other defensive end, I can't think of his name. God dang.
I can't even. Brandon may look it up. I think he's talking.
Bro, they had
the defense was much better, and I just think that the defense now is just terrible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you talking about B? You talking about back in Kansas City when he's coach? No, you talking about Neil? That's a dude. Neil. What was it?
Neil. I can't get it.
What's Neil's last name?
I know what you're talking about. Neil, because he ended up
doing D. Jackson.
No, he's talking about defensive end.
He was defensive
end.
Hold on.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Neil something. I forgot his last name.
Yeah, it is. It is something. Neil something with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Neil Smith.
Neil Smith. Yeah.
Thank you, Neil Smith.
There you go.
And we don't have nobody like him either.
Unfortunately, we don't.
We might have somebody working in the cafeteria named Neil Smith. That's about the closest we don't have.
Yeah, man.
We only have Neil Armstrong.
No,
Neil Smith. Like we don't.
Okay, so wait a minute. How will we fix this?
Hold
on. Match this. Wait a minute.
I'm drafting and free agents.
I'm gonna ask you this season. How do you think they're going to fix it?
Okay.
Good question.
How do you think they will address it? And are you scared if they try to address it?
I'll be scared if they try to address it. Yeah, I'll be scared.
Well, I'm scared because I'm just saying if they decide to give up a first and a second and go
I'm not with that
man from Cincinnati.
No, I
don't want that. I don't want that either.
If you're gonna go get the defensive end from the Raiders, then yeah, maybe. I don't want another older defensive lineman.
Yeah, man.
We got
the only reason I'm bringing that up is that as of late, they have not won the side of what you would think is a trade, except maybe George Pickens.
Yeah.
That's the fear. That's the fear of why I'm like, I would not want them to try to do a trade because they have not shown that they can win the side of a trade.
Yeah, Dallas tends to overreact when it comes to correcting things. And
that's how we got Mingo.
It's so funny.
Exactly.
It's so funny in how Jerry's business acumen is the thing that he highlights, right? But he gets taken to the woodshed every time that he feels like he needs something because teams recognize how desperate that he is.
Yeah, but his business acumen is fine. It's just his football IQ part of it. He doesn't know football. He doesn't.
That was just a comparison thing. How he's talking about.
I know. I get you though. Yeah. But you would think after 30 years he would have gotten smarter to something.
It is.
How many 82-year-old men do you think learn something new? My granddad is 82 years old. I can't recall the last time that he has learned a new trick.
And then not only preface it, wealthy 82-year-old.
There we go.
82.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's something about businessmen that, to me, that Jerry Jones, they always have somebody that they have around them that can give them some advice on certain things, on what channel, what directions to go and take. And it's like, to me, it's like when it comes to this football thing, it's like Jerry thinks that nobody can tell him anything. And it's like, if you tell him something if you tell him something, he's going to try his damnedest to show you that it can be done.
Hold on, I'm going to ask you this. When you say tell him something, like who? What do you mean? Give me.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go Jimmy Johnson. Whatever happened between him and Jimmy Johnson, I think Jerry has spent his last year since that breakup trying to prove to Jimmy that he can do something.
All right, hold on.
He can do what Jimmy did.
I'm gonna go and circle back on that because there's something Ed Warner has said many times, and Rick Goosen. Jerry does actually talk to football people
a lot.
He has a lot, but here's the problem. I don't know if anybody else does that. Like, you have your guys inside the building, and then now you're talking to people outside the building, and then everybody's philosophy is different. So, who philosophy are you standing on to build your football team? Like, you can have 10 different people that give you 10 different answers.
But the guys in the building, some of the guys in the building, their jobs are not threatened. So I can tell you whatever I want to tell, whatever you want to hear. Most guys are telling Jerry what he want to hear.
I don't know.
I disagree.
But here's the thing. I don't know if that's really truly the case. I think guys do tell him, but like you just said, that don't mean he listening. You know, you can tell him.
I think that's what
I do think that he listens, but it's listening to a fault, right?
Okay, so,
Byron, you said that a lot of guys' jobs aren't threatened. I actually agree. I think that a lot of guys in positions of power in the front office, they don't really have to worry about losing their job. So what that means is, let's say Jerry Jones is walking down the hall to the lunchroom one day to get his McGriddle with a little bit of salt on it, right? Somebody, the head of player personnel that's directly under Will McClay could be like, "Hey Jerry, I don't really think we need to invest in big body defensive linemen. Let's look for speed. Let's go about that." And Jerry Jones was like, "Oh, okay. Well, Tom, insert name here. I think you might. That's a good idea." Then as he gets close to the elevator, he gets stopped by Jimmy in accounting, who says, "Jerry, I watched a lot of games, and I think that we need more big body line," directly contradicting what the first guy said, right? So I think that he listens to everybody, but in a lot of cases, it's all about who gets to talk to him last, because that's when it's going to be in this 82-year-old man the freshest.
Okay,
I think that's correct of what you were saying, but I think the last person he talks to are always the defensive coordinators.
You think so?
If you look at how I remember when we got Rob Ryan, and the team needed, to me, defensive line talent. First thing Rob said at draft, this was before they made the move to get Brandon Carr, and before they made the move to get Claiborne. He said, "We're looking at corners." And they went out and they got corners. When Dan Quinn was here, we didn't have safeties for a lot. So they invested in the safeties with the three-headed monster. Rob Marinucci is the guy who really is big on try-hard guys. He likes that. But he has coached frontline talent. But he has a heart for the 6th-rounder and none of that. So what do? They go out and get guys off the couch because that's what he likes. So you never – I do agree with you that he listens to the fault, but you have to have somebody who is the football voice and the football vision of the football.
Yeah.
They're going to shape that football team. The Ravens were so successful because of what? The GM they had. They had Newsom. Yeah. He was very successful how he did it. The Packers were successful. Ron Wolf. He was very successful. You're not going to hit all the time, but you're going to be able to do. So he's had two guys I think were very good at personnel, as far as constructing it. Jimmy, he ran that talent out to 95 after Jimmy, and then Bill Parcells. And Parcells just went on record and said it will be 1 year that you're not going to recognize what I had. And how long did he keep Romo, Jason Witten, and all the guys that Bill had? And he just ran with it. Yeah. But I think his major detriment, Brandon, is not him listening. I think his ego.
Oh, 100%. You talk about old man who don't look like us. 100%.
Yeah. When have you ever heard the last time he said that I'm wrong?
Oh, you're not gonna hear that.
Don't say that
because he need to say that every time he gets in front of a mic.
Yeah. I think he is more concerned at the trappings of the success of having the football team than wanting to actually win.
Of course.
We've talked about this many times. He is the only sports owner that has his own talk radio show. When the team is done, he's the first person that they talk to. and reporters. We go
Hey,
on
let's
Twitter
not forget
right
too.
now.
They ask him football questions too.
You go on Twitter right now. All the respected guys to the bloggers, they all quote him.
Yeah,
all the time. And I've asked him, I'm like, dude, we don't want to hear this. Why? Like, we really just don't want to see these quotes. But they feed into him, and that's just been the thing. I don't think he wants to win. I don't know if he wanted to win in the beginning. I think he was paying off the loan, which is what he was doing. And he stayed out of Jimmy's way. But it became an ego thing. And I just think that his ego is very massive, and he wants more credit for the football players. He's always went on record and has tried to say that I was the Charles Haley trade. No, you wasn't. We all know this. And for the people to say they thought it was, I always tell them, yeah, he was the one who got Shantana Carter. He was the one that all those other guys, the Joey Galloway trade. Remember how bad those trades were when he was actually the acting general manager? So it's okay to just say I was smart enough to hire a great head coach.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing wrong with that, but that isn't how he rolls.
I think that if he just decided to hang his head on that, then like if he said, I have a great eye for identifying great coaches and or leaders of men, great. He could live off of that success a lot longer than if he just tried to handle the actual football stuff.
I agree with you because at the time that he hired Jimmy, everybody thought they were not going to be successful. His college coach, whatever. He could always just say, I was smarter than 30 other people because I hired him. He could leave it at that. But and here's another guy that is a very successful Robert Kraft. But Robert Kraft was Jerry Jones.
Yeah, you never hear him. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Tommy. You know, he let his son
look at that team right now. Look at their team right now. Look how they looking right now.
On the right.
Yeah, we'll see.
And look, they all right now.
They on the
right. But they all right. That's where you want to be 3-4 years after.
Yeah, but we have to see how far it is. It's 4-2. Let's say he becomes real successful next year. The head coach want to do something else, and Kraft is like, nah, I like this guy. We have to see whether or not he's truly learned his lesson.
Because he still got some of Bill's guys. I mean, the OC is still. I mean, McDaniel he's a. Anytime the Patriots need an OC, it's gonna be McDaniel first, and that's the owner bringing him back. That's not the head coach bringing him back. That's the owner bringing him back. So I mean, everybody got a little bit of it, man. We got a little bit of it in Atlanta with Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank dips his nose into a lot of different things. You know, for years he's just finally kind of sat back a little bit. But Arthur Blank had a football guy that didn't know what the hell he was doing. Yeah, but he stuck with him. And they struck gold a couple of times, but for the most part, they ain't never had the talent on defense that they got right now. That's all because Arthur Blank took a step back. So sometimes you gotta realize maybe you're the problem. So kind of step back and say, well, I'm gonna add this.
He'll never do that.
That's the problem with Jerry. Jerry doesn't realize that he needs to at this time trust Steven. I mean, and I would much rather him just trust Steven and just fade into the back, as opposed to still being the mouthpiece of the Cowboys. Because right now, bro, you got this team, this defense. This might be the worst defense in football history.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it's all because
I know that linebacker is. That linebacker is the worst thing I ever seen.
Overall, Willie, like this
might be the worst
defense
I'm just talking about that linebacker. I know for sure he is.
Not NFL history, in football history. Yeah. I can go to a youth game tomorrow and see a 6-year-old not
I've seen linebackers. I ain't seen.
I know, but you still.
They can diagnose plays better than this dude can.
But it's like overall they're bad. Malik Hooker is bad. Donovan Wilson is bad. They just got too many bad players. Sam Williams is bad. They don't play collectively. They have no effort. They don't.
That's all the more reason for them to do one thing, John. Put the young players out there on the field
and turn
See,
off the codes.
you know what I'm saying? Let them guys play, and hopefully by the end of next year, by the end of the year, you got 7 to 8 guys they can play for you next year on defense.
I
And then you take those first 4 picks, and you make sure those first 4 picks that you get in that draft, and you make sure they hit. You make sure those are hits. You can't go in there.
I don't know how many draft picks they have, but I don't know if I even use it. It would just be the first 4.
I think they got 7.
First 4 be on.
Yeah, I think they do have 7.
7?
2 1s, a 2, a 4, a 5, 6, and 7.
The way I see, they say that again. They got what again?
2 1s, a 2, a 4, a 5, 6, and 7.
As bad
I
as
think we got 2 7s. I don't know if we have a 6.
So I'm going Bane.
I think I looked at it the other day, but maybe I could be wrong.
I'm going Bane because right now, based upon the way the defense is playing, we might be a top 5 team.
Yeah.
So I'm going Bane. I'm going Downs from Ohio State. I'm gonna drive me a Alabama DT or Georgia DT or Mississippi State DT.
Can't go wrong with those.
Again, I'm gonna find me a linebacker from.
I'll get you one of them dudes on Ole Miss defensive line.
Nope, I don't want nobody from Ole Miss.
For real?
I don't want nobody from Ole Miss. Nope. I don't want nobody from Ole Miss.
I don't know.
We'll have to discuss that.
Mississippi State, Alabama, Georgia, or Ohio.
But you don't want Ole Miss. No one from
Hey, what did I do?
I want a defensive player from the linebackers, or the secondary from one of them 4 schools.
Okay, based on what you say with the current defense of the Dallas Cowboys, who do you keep?
Who do I keep?
I mean, if you want to be real, it's only one player. It's only one player that, I mean, outside of the guys that you pay, because you kind of obligated, you stuck to them.
I mean, you're not.
I would only keep James Houston
over Donovan Araku.
Well, I mean, like I said, you got to come back. Yeah, you got no choice.
Araku gonna be on the team.
You got no choice there. I'm talking about the guys
a draft pick you're not tied to. Like you're not.
Well, I mean, you're not tied to, but I mean, he's under contract, so you.
Oh no, I like him. No, I like him. I was just a little.
He's kind of stuck here.
That he only picked James Houston. Like, I'm just saying, there's certain guys that even though they may be in their 3rd year, I'm still a little shaky with.
Well, yeah. Well, once you get to that point, sure. But like a guy who's in his 1st year, maybe even 2nd year, like that's kind of like a foregone conclusion. So I wasn't thinking about Ezaraku. I'm only partially thinking.
No, I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to every. Don't matter if you 1st year, whatever, veterans, whatever. Who are you keeping? Who do you see that is worthy of keeping to say, okay, we're going to keep this guy, and we can move on, and we're going to add more to this.
All right, let's start from the top. Marshawn Kneeling, Kenny Clark, Oso Odigizua, Donovan Ezaraku, James Houston. That's the line. Linebackers, Shamar James, Maris Luafau. That's the linebackers. Hurt guy.
Overshown.
Yeah. Overshown. Wouldn't re-sign him yet though. Okay, now secondary. Yeah.
Revel.
Yeah, Rebel. There we go.
Rebel. Okay.
Rebel.
Okay.
Now, do Blaine, you gonna make that? You gonna trade?
You just said Rebel. You said Rebel.
You just paid it.
You said Rebel. You didn't say
you kind of, like I said, you kind of have an obligation to.
Yeah, you just paid him.
You
gotta keep him.
You know what I'm saying? He gonna do it too. Go.
But money notwithstanding,
I mean, I don't think you're obligated just because you paid him.
I mean, yeah, you can go into cap hell, sure.
Don't you a slot, man?
Hey, man.
You can't throw that boy here a slot corner. I told you it was a slot.
Outside of Revel, give me $5 worth of gas and a match for the rest of everybody in that secondary.
Yeah.
It seems like
I'm having a fire sale. Who you want?
Hey, B, how you want Wanye looking to you? Because I ain't really got the good.
Wanye's been okay.
Yeah, Wanye is okay in the game. Okay. He seems to be a bad practice.
He's all right.
He seems to be a bad practice player, and that's why it took so long for him to get on the field. Just based on the things that I'm hearing, like just
anybody can tell me why Bill can't get on the field.
This is just my thought. There's no fact behind this, right? I think that Bell, they tried to do their best for him by that linebacker move, and when they moved him back, that put him in that awkward space of A, not really having any sponsors in the building anymore, and B, the guys who are there, they might get the impression of, okay, these guys, the previous coaches did everything they could for him, and it didn't really work out. I think that Bell would probably be better than Donovan Wilson right now, because Wilson can only move forward. You know, you got to at least see if Bell can move backwards. I would also say this: what's Israel Mukuamu up to right now? He might be better at safety than Wilson or Hooker.
Is he still on the team?
No.
Who's this?
Israel
Mukuamu. Yeah.
No, he's not here.
Oh no, I'm fine. No, he plays for Chicago now.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Because he had a pick six. You're right.
Sure.
No, that wasn't Mukuamu with the pick six.
That that's I forgot.
That
was Oregon State dude. That was Oregon State dude.
Oh, you talking about Nation?
Nation Wright. Yeah.
Nation Wright to turn back into the pumpkin. Because boy, that
yeah.
The last game they had.
B, hold on. B, Brian, this is what I'm saying. So remember when Dan Quinn was here? You know, he got these long safeties. Look at that Richard Sherman type.
That was a whole year. That was a whole draft class.
Yep. So you had a third round pick. You wasted.
Yeah. But Dan Quinn did that everywhere he went, though. He did it in Atlanta.
Exactly.
He trying to find it. Yeah. So that's. I mean,
and you know how frustrating that would be if you're a scout and you're scouting players and you're doing it, and then you get a new guy in the room and he's just like, "Oh, I like this guy." Because they did it with Rob, with Tristan Hill. He's like, he liked him.
Hey, you got two players like that.
Huh?
You forget Sam Williams is his guy.
I know.
Was his guy. That's the guy he wanted.
Yeah. So you need to let him get Sam.
He can have Sam right now.
You can get Sam for a 7th-round pick and a bag of chips right now.
I don't give him that, but
right now you give me a 7th.
So that's all. Hold on, that's all. Defensively, that you're keeping, Brandon, those guys.
Those would be the only guys that I would feel the need to. Oh, and maybe Kenny Clark, maybe, but that's also because contractually all of his guaranteed money is gone. You getting him he's getting his game checks. If he isn't on the team after his game checks, that's it.
I'm keeping Kenny Clark.
Yeah, I keep Clark.
I don't have a problem with Kenny. The only thing I have with this is kind of like a Jonathan Hankins thing to me. He's gonna be 30 next year. Exactly. So I want to get another younger defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get a younger guy. If you spell him a little bit more, that's a lot to ask at 30.
Yeah.
Nice young pro.
We need
somebody right in front of him who can learn from him. Play, learn the game from him, and then
but there's some guys. If you hit right, they don't really need a lot of learning.
Sure.
Yeah, but you also know it takes 2-3 years for that position to actually become something. Yes, it does, Joe. Yes, it does. Dog B, tell me why Quinyon Williams didn't look good till his 3rd year. Brown didn't look good till his 3rd year.
Who?
Quinton Williams did not look good until his 3rd year.
Quinton Williams. Hold on, let me ask you first. Quinton Williams doesn't have anything in his toolkit. He's always never had anything in his toolkit. So that's the thing. But still, he will command a double team. There are certain things that he can do. He may not be able to do everything, but he can do something. Derek Brown was a man the first time.
Derek Brown has.
Yeah, I was going to say, man.
Them Bama boys.
Yeah, I'm saying Derek Brown took 3 years. It took 3 years for him to be a dominant player that he is.
Did not take 3 years. No.
Yes, he did. All right, bro.
No, he did not.
All right.
No, he
all right,
did
bro.
not.
All right, bro. I know what I'm watching, bro.
No.
I know what I'm watching. He didn't start really go pop just that 3rd year, bro.
Last year, Derek Brown was injured a lot.
Yeah, he was.
He got injured. That wasn't his 3rd year, though.
I know, but Derek Brown was making. He
was injured all year.
This just me. I may be the only person in the room that feel this way. If you got a D tackle that's a man, you're gonna see some flashes in that 1st year, in that 2nd year. The 3rd year might be their breakout year. It might be the year where they break out and they become that guy but you knew in year 1 and year 2 that year 3 were going to be that year.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Carter was a man child from day one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other?
Jalen Carter, and he still gets whooped. He was still getting whooped his first year and second year.
You're gonna lose some battles. You're gonna lose some battles, Willie.
I'm talking about when they become a dominant, when they become who they are. That's why I was saying you're gonna take them 2 or 3 years to get to that person.
Take him no 3 years.
Hold on, Willie. I gotta ask you this. Willie, hold on.
Willie, I gotta
ask you this. Who dominated Jalen Carter last year?
Oh shoot! I can find some tape. I found some tape where that boy was getting whooped. I found tape where that boy getting whooped.
I mean, what I'm saying is you was confident you said that, so I'm figuring you must have spotted it. So who was it?
I'm just saying I can find some tape. He was not. He was still having some ups and downs. Like right now, he ain't killing it. He's good. No, he's not Aaron Donald.
Those are two different.
He ain't Aaron Donald. Like he's not. He's not.
The reason why he's not
Jones.
The reason why he's not Aaron Donald right now is and this comes from Georgia. Jalen Carter will turn it on and he'll turn it off.
Exactly.
Jalen Carter is he don't play dominant consistently, but if you can ever get him to be dominant consistently, he will be one of those ones, dude. I'm telling
Which is a level of maturity.
Hold on,
No,
like I say, it takes 2 or 3 years to get to that maturity where you are not being lazy on the field. You are actually playing your ass out. It takes 2 or 3 years, like you usually. All right, hey man, I'm not gonna argue. I know. I see this. I see this.
Willie, I'm just asking you this. If Jalen Carter was on the Dallas Cowboys last year, he was drafted. Is he the best defensive tackle?
He ain't be the best defensive tackle I've seen last year.
I'm just name some rookies. Villa.
What about him?
Would he, if we would have drafted him when we would have drafted, would he have been the best defensive tackle?
I'm trying to remember who was from. Yeah, he would have been the best defensive tackle. We ain't had nobody back then.
We had 2 Bama boys.
What did he hit there around early time?
The 2 Bama boys that was in Washington.
Platinum.
If we would have had either one,
we don't want to talk about them. They didn't even do much. They didn't do much after the 3rd year. Oh, we're talking about this. They were all right together. They weren't even down. But them 2 dudes, they should have been more dominant. They wasn't that dominant. Dog. They wasn't that good.
No offense. They had no offense. Them boys was whooping.
Yeah, you can't, bro. You can't.
They were not whooping feet. They were not whooping feet like they should have been.
Bro, you lost your mind. When you playing football in a dominant defense, if you're out there for the majority of snaps, you're going to wear down. They're human beings. They're not Terminators. Also, you got to still have other players to help you. But them 2 Bama boys, they were players day one. They make
I forgot. I had an offensive line having them boys over there fighting each other. So I'm sorry, I forgot. I had a great offensive line back then. There were nobody's to me because I had a great offensive line that made them boys obsolete.
No, but know what you just said.
Every time we played.
So you had 5 playing against 2.
I'm just saying them. I mean, they were blockable.
But you had 5 playing against 2.
What I'm trying to say is, John, they were blockable. And they didn't have no impact on when I watched them play.
Anybody's blockable if it's 5 against 2.
Well, I don't care how great defensive talent is. If your defensive talent spends more time on the field than the offense does, they're gonna wear down, Willie.
They're gonna wear down.
I know that. I know they're gonna wear down, but they wasn't. Neither one of them boys.
If you could put them boys in Dallas,
even together, they wasn't elite.
You put the boys in Dallas.
I'm gonna tell you who elite. You remember Henderson and Williams back in the day
with Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's elite. Up the middle.
Stroud, and
Williams and what's the name? Up there in Minnesota. Remember the other Williams and I gave Williams in Minnesota. Remember them cats?
Them 2 boys, yeah. Them two guys out there, they played some good ball, but
That's
they
the
got
type
beat
of
too
dominance I'm
sometimes,
talking
bro.
about. They wasn't that dominant, dog. They wasn't them guys like them two. Them two sets of
Yeah,
dudes. They was
I
not
don't
like
know,
them
man.
guys,
I'm
bro.
talking about Kevin Williams and you talking about the two dudes at Minnesota, right?
Yeah. They were not like them
here's the
dudes.
thing. No, but here's the thing why I proved the difference. The guys that they got in Washington, they drafted them solely because of the Dallas offensive line that they were dealing with. So therefore, your counterpart. The guys that you talking in, the guys you talking in Minnesota, they are players. I'm not going to deny that. But the guys that they were playing in offensive lines that was up in the NFC Central was absolute trash. Absolute trash. So you got to look at the context of who you're going against as well. Now, Derek Brown is a man. He is a man. We all know this. But tossing around Hoffman and then playing Tyler Booker, those are two different types of things. When you're playing against Zach Martin, year in and year out, you're playing against different guys. You're playing against Travis Frederick. Those are different types of guys. And if you're still playing them on a slate mate, and now who do you have on the side? You still need some help, man. You need some help. So I still think both of them dudes, day one, were players. I'm not saying that they're Aaron Donald, but those dudes are players. Those dudes can play the first time they stepped on the field. It wasn't no, okay, I'm lost. I need 3 years to figure it out. Are both of them, I'm asking you this, were both better than Mozzie was in his first year?
Oh yeah, come on now.
Both of those. That's all I'm saying. They need to go out and get some moves. They need to get some moves.
I don't know which one is worse between Mozzie and Tristan Hill. I don't know which one is worse. The both of them kind of a tie right now with me.
Oh, they both are tie.
So you don't bring up anybody unless you talk about some bad players when it comes to Mozzie.
Tristan Hill was a second
I'm
round
gonna
pick.
be thinking about Tristan Hill. That's where he needs to be.
Was a second round pick that was put first round expectations on him. So
but also when you look at this college thing, if he's a rotational guy, there's a reason for that.
He was a second round pick.
When you hear the rumors that he's hard to coach, he's not coachable. You got to start looking at that type of stuff. I get what Byron is saying.
Out of UCF.
Yeah, he's trying to say get guys who are not intimidated by the big lights, who are playing against NFL level talent.
Give me some guys that play in some real trench warfare during their college career and know how to handle NFL talent. Like, it seems like sometimes we draft guys and the first time they get a chance to play against a guy that is NFL ready is when they get to the NFL. And it's like that ain't going if you go getting dominated right then and there, that can either catapult your career and make you work harder and want to get better, or it's going you got to get the trenches are where football championships are won and lost. And we have not.
Who was the defensive end that was in Washington? They drafted him early.
Sweat. He and
the other one.
Chase Young.
Chase Young. Okay, so here's something I was talking to Willie, and Willie, you will remember this. So remember when Rashad Slater was playing and he was coming out of college, and I said I really, really wanted him, and I told you I saw him play against guys I projected.
What's the name again?
Yeah.
Rashad Slater. Remember when I talked about
Rashad Slater's whole thing in college was he whooped Chase Young.
So when I used to roll with my friend that was a scout, I was seeing him against guys that were projected in the first round. Now, if you look at it and say, oh, he struggled. Yeah, some of the other guys on the offensive line getting their ass whipped, but he wasn't. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that any of the dudes that you get are going to be Aaron Donald types, Willie, but I'm just talking about dudes who can come in and help us, and they can play. And that they're not going to have that type. Of course, after 3 years, the growth and all of that, and they finally. But bro, we get guys on the field. They look like they've never even played up to this level. And you do play against guys.
They're too busy getting boys to state dudes. That's their problem.
I mean, sometimes you can get a dude like that, and you see him in the Senior Bowl. You're like, "Damn, this dude pops. This is beyond him." But there are times you're getting guys who don't play against guys like this on a consistent level, and then when they do, they get dominated. Yeah. And so when I saw Slater, you remember what I said? He was like, "What would you play?" I'm like, "I'm playing wherever, either left guard or left tackle," because I just thought he was that good and he would be that dominant. And so there are sometimes I think there are guys that can help us clog the middle up, man, and just do their job.
But sometimes they do hit on a guy like a guy from Tulsa They do hit. So I can't say.
I mean, sometimes it's okay to double.
You talking about the guard?
I'm talking about Smith. You know, I can't really say nothing when you got a guy. You get a guy from Tulsa, and he's an all-pro.
But Willie,
yeah, but see, the only thing with that is when we saw that, when Willie showed me the tape, what did I say? I said, well, he's NFL.
But we know what we see,
and I said he's nasty too. You just got to fix some technique wise.
Yeah,
but you saw that the effort and like he plays after the whistle. If you see a dude not playing like that and kind of loafing, and that's telling you something, man. Or Byron knows this. You get your ass whipped 30-8. Some people check out, but some dudes are playing hard.
Yeah.
They're playing hard regardless. They're like,
Tyler Smith, had he not went to the pros, would have been playing for an SEC team because they were after him. Sometimes talent slips through the rough, and it gets lost. Whether it's you played for a small high school or you had grade issues or something. You can find some guy. You can find some offensive linemen here and there. You can find some defensive linemen here and there. If you look at Justin Simmons at Tennessee, he ain't played no big time college, but he was just.
What about the lineman?
Yeah, where did Justin Simmons?
He played at Ohio State. He got hurt though.
Justin Simmons played at Ohio State.
Yeah, Justin Simmons was at Ohio State.
Remember? Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt all last year, early in the year. And he got back. That's the one they got. That's starting right now. The rookie.
Are you talking Justin Simmons?
I'm talking about the Tennessee.
Jeffrey Simmons. You talking about the defensive tackle from Tennessee?
Oh, Jeffrey Simmons. He played. Yeah, he was at Mississippi State. Yeah, he was at Mississippi State.
But you know the one thing. But you know the one thing about Mississippi State for a long time, Willie. Because here's the thing: this is on.
They get their D tackle if you're looking for one.
No, not just D tackle. They on the side of the ball, their defense they always coach well. But because their offense was so inept, people would think they can't play. And I'm like, nah, dude, them dudes can play. They just out there for too long. Yeah. So any dude, I don't care what player it is, can get wore out. You can wear any defense out. They out there for 45 minutes, man, bro. You put the best defenses out. I've seen them all get tired. All I'm just saying is we just need to do better at recognizing that front seven. And we haven't. We've been dog crap shit, man, for that evaluation part on that.
Tell you what it is. This is what you miss right here. That's what you miss, miss my.
I think they should. They could have kept him. They could have kept him. They could have kept when they had him and they had Darce Armstrong at that time. They could have flipped him. They could have flipped Gallup. They could have flipped those players and got third round picks and used that to build around him. And but then you trade him, and they lucked into him. They lucked into him.
They lucked into him, Jay. It fell in their lap. They didn't know what to do with him.
Hey, I'm out too. I'm about to let y'all.
Yeah, I know everybody tapping out.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yeah, we about to tap out.
All right, brother. So all I'm saying is, man, they gotta have the talent. Is just isn't there. I just don't believe that the talent is there. I don't know what they're gonna do. But we'll see. I don't know if playing man coverage is gonna matter. But
I don't think the reason why I say that.
No, but I get what you said. When you get cooked in zone, might as well play man.
Might as well play bad. If you're gonna get clipped that bad, it's just like, dude, I mean, just at least run with the dude. At least I can see who got beat. And then, I know who to get rid of this year. That's what I'm going to do is say, get rid of him for sure. I mean,
got some problems.
And they really should think about putting Bell out on the field, though, right now. They really should.
We've been saying that for a while. I think they should put Bell out there. They should take Donovan Wilson off, put Bell. They should go all young with the linebackers. They need to solidify the rotation of the defensive line. And that's about all I can think. Maybe you could probably be okay. Oh, what's that kid that we had that was from the other league? He was a defensive tackle, but they had him on injury.
So you said one of guys.
What was it? Winfrey.
Winfrey.
Play him when he comes back. play
Yeah,
Patrick.
he'll be back. But,
Yeah, play Patrick Turner when he
no, I
gets
mean,
back.
I'm not thinking that he's gonna make that much of an impact. I think he's a good try hard guy, but I'm looking for
But I
talent
need,
that's
but I
gonna be
need
able
some
to
try
dominate.
hard. I need some try
I need,
hard.
and I know, okay, you're right. We do need
Yeah,
some try because they ain't even trying out there. At some
I
point in
need
time,
some.
it's gonna look
And
like they're
I'm
trying.
not saying that he's going to suddenly tilt things, but let's just say you can play him, and sometimes you may be able to play Solomon Thomas at a little bit defensive end, as opposed to Sam Williams. Like, but they
I
made a
just,
mistake. Yeah, go ahead.
I wonder what happened between the end of last year and this year because they played damn good football. The end of the year, they
I
played good
told you.
football.
I told you what happened. You traded Michael Parsons. You didn't retain Tank Lawrence. You didn't bring back your middle
But
linebacker.
Tank wasn't here the rest of the year.
No,
So
he wasn't there. But I'm saying is the carryover. But Michael Parsons is always what I'm saying with the pass rush that helped. But then you got rid of your middle linebacker too. He's smarter than Murray. Like he's way smarter than Murray. So he's the guy getting everybody in position. And then you also had a guy last year who played well was Golston. Golston played well last year, and they didn't retain him. So you pretty much left.
we missed J. Lou too, man. We do miss J. Lou.
You missing J. Lou too. So
I'm gonna still wouldn't pay no $10 million though.
So what is that? So that's Micah Parsons, Golston, Marcus Lawrence, your middle linebacker, and J. Lou. Your five best players.
You gotta replace. That's the point. They gotta replace 5 players, and they didn't replace those 5 players. Those other players look worse without those 5 players. But those 5 players.
And then your one guy, which is Micah, changes the pecking order for the rest of the pass rushers. Remember what I used to always tell you? If Dante Fowler is your first or second best pass rusher, you got problems.
Yeah,
but if he's your 4th pass rusher, you cook him.
You cook it.
Yeah. So they lost a lot of talent.
Could you imagine Donovan right now with Michael on the field? Right now.
I actually was imagining that when we had Micah. So that was my thought that like the Arachne will play. This will be really good for him because now the way the pecking order is, and if you had him, Donovan Arachne, James Houston, that's a good pass rushing duo. That's triplets.
And that's start of the year. That way you're thinking. That's why I was thinking at the start of the year. At least we got pass rush. We got these guys. We got back, and then you get rid of him. It's just. I got a bunch of dudes trying to learn. I got a young dude trying to learn to be a great pass rusher. It's coming along.
You got a young dude learning. That's that thing. James Houston doesn't get as many snaps. We all know what Dante Fowler is. So that's what you got. You got guys who can help another team if they have reduced roles, in my opinion. But instead, they have like roles that's bigger than them.
They need to find a way to just slip Williams on out the back though. That dog that was in the cage. He gonna go yell at that boy. That boy need to be old yelling.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
He imagine laughing at people when they make comments about it, and he's just laughing about it. Like, hey, I know the reason why he laughed. He said because it's this kind of block, and it's still nothing to laugh about, bro. Just people don't want to see you laughing about nothing, dog. They want to see the dude that said let me out the cage.
Yeah, not the way you playing. When you playing like that lack of a level, that's a problem. Like seriously,
He's like a dog. You know what he is? He's a dog on a mop float. That's what he is. When the dogs start running and you get to turning around the side of the wheel, and they just start flipping out the leg.
The only thing they're compromised is wet. He isn't. He ain't compromised. It just ain't clicking with him. He probably get another chance later. I hope they don't re-sign him because they can. Like if they can re-sign him for money, I just hope they don't do that.
If they re-sign him, we have no hope. We have no hope.
Yeah.
That's just plain simple. You resign him, you got no hope. But if you can't see that this boy had no pass rush moves, no, he just got nothing that got to do with getting after the passer, other than I run after the passer.
Yeah, he doesn't have the bend. He don't have a plan. But that's 2 hours.
We knew he was stiff, but we thought at least he had something. Worked on it.
I always thought he would be strong at setting the edge, and he would be a guy that would give you effort. And you develop 3 moves: a stab, a bull rush, and a swim over. But he hasn't developed any of that stuff. He's probably the most disappointing player for me. Like, I'd expect to be Michael Parsons, but I thought he would be better than this. Like, his development, he just has not come along in development. But we'll see if I don't know, sometimes they re-sign guys like that. I hope they don't. I hope they don't. Let him have a fresh start, go elsewhere.
Yeah, let him go to Washington. And he can go over there.
He probably will.
That'll be his last result, probably last place to go.
He probably will end up in Washington. But all right, man, 2 hours. Wrap
20 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours.
We did good today.
Long time. Yeah, a little longer than I thought it would be, but it was real good. Cool energy. Thank you for looking. Comment, like, hate us, whatever it was. We just had to get stuff off our chest.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Who stayed with us.